Hi and welcome to the Australian Formula Ford eChallenge. My name is Icky Harrington and I'm the Category Manager of the Australian Formula Ford Championship. Normally at this time of the year we'd be racing real cars on real tracks, but unfortunately that's not possible this year. So to fill the void, we're about to go racing in the virtual world. The drivers you'll watch in our eChallenge are actual competitors from our national, state and historic championships. We've also got a great mix of past competitors, champions and guys who have gone on to compete in all sorts of other categories. Adding to the mix, we've got young go-karters who dream of careers in motorsport and see Formula Ford as the best place to make their transition into cars. Joining us also will be some big names from Porsche Carrera Cup and supercars. When we go to the track in a minute, you might think it's a bit odd that we're racing in Formula Renault 2.0 cars. The reason for that is that iRacing doesn't have a Formula Ford, so the next best thing for us is the Formula Renault. And as race car drivers, we always want to race the next fastest thing, and in this case, we're going to be racing the Formula Renault car. It's also got a similarity to the Formula Ford 2000 of years gone by, which is also slicks and wings and powered by a 2-litre engine. I'd also like to give you a quick update on the actual Australian Formula Ford Championship. Unfortunately, due to coronavirus restrictions, we've had to either cancel or postpone the first couple of rounds of the championship. Unfortunately, we don't know how the next couple of months are going to roll out, but what I can assure you is that as soon as we can go racing again, we will fashion the best championship we can out of the remaining opportunities during the year. In the meantime, I hope you enjoy all the action from the Australian Formula Ford eChallenge.
G'day and welcome to the Australian Formula Ford eChallenge, round 4 of 5 tonight from Silverstone Circuit in the UK. And great to be doing this once again. This is the 4th round of this championship, a very short championship, just to fill in the gap while we can't race in the real world. I tell you what, it's pretty exciting that is still all starting to happen now, and the cars are starting to re-enter the real racetracks, which is fantastic, isn't it? Now we're here at this fantastic, the home of motorsport, a lot of people say, the home of the Formula 1 Grand Prix. We are running the modern GP circuit as well, which is fantastic. A lot of people choose to run the old circuit here in iRacing, but these guys have all forked out a little bit of money this week and bought the brand new track here. And it looks better, it feels better, and it's basically the current spec track laser scan by iRacing, which is fantastic. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they go tonight down there on the racetrack. We've already got Cooper Allen setting the quickest time. Let's bring that up on the screen for you right now. And we'll get that for you in one sec, folks. And I tell you what, it's looking pretty close out the front though. I think it's 3 100s between himself and Kyle Evans. Those times will now refresh onto the screen. So there you go, 28 thousandths of a second between the top two. The top 3 covered by less than a tenth of a second. So it should be a good afternoon of racing. Make sure you're tuned in from wherever you are around the world via Facebook, Twitch and YouTube tonight. We also are on the Formula Ford Facebook page as well, and also the Formula Ford YouTube page. So we're going out to many different platforms tonight. But I just do remind people that want to engage in the chat and get involved that I can only reference the chat on the Lucas Esports page. So if you want to get involved tonight and a bit of banter about these drivers and how they're going out there on the racetrack, jump over to Lucas Esports on Facebook, give us a like and follow along. We've also got live timing, so there's a link to the live timing in the description of the video. So if you have an iPad or an extra phone or something sitting there and you want to watch the live timing as I see it, you can log on to that, and that's a pretty cool little feature as well. Let's see how they're going out there. Let's get down on board with a couple of these drivers as the music finishes up here. They're looking pretty quick. It's about a 2-minute lap around this place. It's a long lap. We are launching our new visor cam tonight, which is pretty exciting as well. So we'll be able to take you right on board with the drivers and give you their perspective. Let's have a quick look at that now. So this is a visor cam, brand new to Lucas Esports since the last broadcast. And we get to sit right in the driver's seat with the visor, or the camera mounted right on the visor there, which will be pretty fantastic. We'll bring you this during the racing tonight, and we'll be able to give you the perspective of what the driver would be seeing in VR, and much similar to what they would be seeing in the real world as well. And we'll try and bring you all those excellent shots as well. So hopefully you're doing well out there on a Sunday. What is it, about 4:05 on a Sunday afternoon? Everyone's probably sitting around relaxing, thinking about hopefully getting back to a work week for all those that are still working. And our thoughts go out to everyone else that has lost their job during this crazy 2020 year, and hopefully it all gets back to normal soon. Now we're about 16, 17 minutes into this practice session, and it will go for about another 23, obviously. And then we will get into qualifying, which tonight, as we just lose William Liston there for a sec. We'll go across to Girton and ride with Kyle there in the number 21 car, currently in 6th position. We might try and find someone who wants to take us on a full lap around this circuit, so we can just have a look at it from their perspective. But at the moment, Alan, Evans, Grubel, Dialli is up there in 4th place as well. There is Dialli as we ride on board with him. And let's see how Benjamin can go tonight in this little Formula Renault car. As Iki said in the intro to the video, unfortunately there is no Formula Ford in iRacing. So we do choose to run in this Renault. Now they've tuned a lot of wing out of it, which makes the car very, very hard to drive. So it is a tricky one for these guys. They're probably, sim racing in general can be a little bit hard for the real world guys to adjust to when you're not getting that seat of the pants feeling. But at the moment, they all seem to be doing pretty well. And the car is very snappy. I've just looked at a couple of the guys in the practice session earlier today, and I did notice that once they lose the rear end, it is very hard to hang on to it, as Steve White just shows that there, and we get a little bit of a flash from the exhaust as well. So Steve, just spinning it around on cue there for me. We might try and have a chat to him or someone else shortly as well. So let's see how we go tonight. We've got a few guys in the drivers' rooms. I'm going to try and chat to them soon. We'll get an interview happening. Possibly, let's try and see if we can chat to Jake Donaldson. He's just jumped back into the pit lane. So while he's sitting there, I'm going to try and grab him for a chat. I know he's in a private driving room at the moment. I'm going to try and nick him out. So just stand by, everyone, while I do that. I don't have anyone helping me tonight. I think Iki's coming on to help me in a sec, but I'm just going to grab him across. Jake, are you there live on the broadcast? Can you have a quick chat with us? Jake, are you there for a quick chat? No, he's not. So we're just going to drop him back into the room he was in, and we'll try and tee up some interviews as soon as we can, folks. It's a one-man show here at Lucas Esports, so I'm doing all the cameras, all the talking, and if you guys want to get involved on the chat, that'd be very good. And we've got Steve White out there. He is running a brand new livery tonight. We did see that before when he spun the car around. There it is. Let's try and get a nice close-up shot of that. Very, very bright indeed. And it's what he raced in the UK back in the 90s, that livery. So it's a representation of what he raced. I'm going to try and quickly Google in a sec, see if we can get a real-world picture of that as well. So see if I can do 10 things at once here. And that's a really cool-looking livery. Let's just ride on board and have a listen to this car. So down the gears there, you can just hear they're very tentative on the brakes. You've got to be so careful. You've got to line up your shifts with the blipping of the clutch often in these cars, although some of them do use auto blip, which is a feature that they do have in iRacing. And someone who knows more about the Formula 2 Renaults in real life can probably tell me if they have the auto blip feature in the real cars. I do know a lot of modern Formula cars, and even GT cars, for example, do have an auto blip now where it does all the left foot clutch pedal work for you, and you can just smash it down through the gears. It's pretty cool. Zach Bates to the top. There he is in that very black car with the ZB on it. Son of Rick Bates out there doing a nice job, and we'll try and take you through a fair bit of this track as well in the next 20 minutes just to discuss exactly where we are and what the corners are, because there's some pretty famous spots, isn't there? So we go to the chopper cam, we'll have a bit of a look. Try and zoom back here as we come down past the old start-finish area, the old paddock area, which is no longer used. And we go through this first big flying corner, Cops Corner, which heads us down this back straightaway. Now, there's a heap of runoff area there. You see the cars, they're going to use a fair bit of that tonight. We head down towards this famous, probably my favourite corners in Formula 1 or in motorsport, which is Maggots and Beckett's, through these big sweeping right left-handers, right-handers, back through Chapel, then onto this big long hanger straight. Now, the hanger straight, we're going to see some pretty good top speeds out of these cars tonight, especially with some slipstream action. We'll have a quick look at that now. We'll just bring up the dashboard so we can see what sort of speed Zach Bates is getting down the hanger straight. 226, just on 227 kilometres an hour as he tips it in here into Stoke Corner, which is a really fast right-hander, a little bit off camber as well. Then hard on the brakes down to Vale, which is also where your pit entrance is, so we'll see cars peel off there if they need to go to the pit lane. Through this tight little section, then Club Corner back onto the main straight, which is our new pit area, which we see used these days. Obviously, back in the day it wasn't there, and I think they use the GP GP2 or Formula 2 will now use the old pits when they do the Formula 1 events here, and we're going to see that later in the year, which is fantastic, isn't it? That we're finally getting back to some Formula 1 soon as well, which is great. Now, looking forward to this tonight. We've got Zach Bates in the green room, so we might try and have a quick chat to him if we can while he's driving. Let's see if we can do that now. I'm going to grab him in. Zach, you're live on the broadcast. How you going, buddy?
Good, how are you?
Very good, mate. Now, how's it feeling out there? You're currently the quickest by about 0.4 of a second. You're pretty confident out there?
Yeah, the setup's a bit understeer and a little hard to drive, but yeah, it's feeling good.
Now, I believe they do wind a lot of wing out of it to try and, I guess, simulate what you'd get in a Formula Ford, but they are a very snappy car, these Formula Renault 2 litres, and I guess once you take the wing out as well, it becomes even worse.
Yeah, it's I think they've done a pretty good job obviously it's never going to be like the real car, but I think they've tried to make it as similar as possible, so yeah, it's not too bad.
For sure. Now, Zach, what's your plans getting back to real motor racing?
Well, at the moment I think we're all just waiting on a calendar, which is the first thing that we'll look at when we're going back to real life racing, but yeah, obviously in Victoria things are starting to get a little worse again, so we're not really sure when the calendar.
Yeah, it's a bit sad. I just saw that on the news this morning, in fact, and it could all be, being shut down again, which is crazy. Oh boy, we caught that incident. bit of fun there. You won't be doing that in the real world, but yeah, what's your sessions been like in the in the off season, I guess we call it, which is probably the longest off season any race driver's ever had. But what have you been doing to keep yourself fit and keep yourself focused? A lot of iRacing?
I've been riding my bike a lot. I've been doing mountain biking and just doing a bit of running and yeah, just on the sim a fair bit. So I'm just trying to prepare best for when we get back racing.
Yeah, for sure. And now listen, the sim doesn't really give you the seat of the pants sensation, but as far as reflexes and just keeping yourself fresh, probably a bit of the way you racecraft and all that sort of stuff as well. Is it worthwhile doing that?
Oh yeah, I think definitely. It's the biggest thing I think that the simulator provides is reflexes, and also on other games such as Assetto Corsa, you can get the real life tracks in there. So if you haven't been to a track before, you can go on there and have a steer, and when you arrive at the track, you know where to go. Like you have a rough idea of where to go. Yeah,
for sure. That's pretty important too, and it would be fantastic if iRacing had a few more Aussie tracks. A little bit of a hint there to iRacing. Let's hope they do that soon. But I have had a go of Sydney Motorsport Park and a few other places like that, Wakefield Park, on other platforms like Assetto Corsa, and R Factor 2 is pretty good as well. And yeah, it is good, man, that you can actually get that sort of leg up. Even the Bend, I think, have their own software out now to do some laps around there, which is being such a long track, it's the importance of knowing it on the sim first is really right up there.
Yeah, for sure. I think, like, honestly, the tracks on Assetto Corsa and that they aren't too far off, which is cool.
Yeah, for sure, man. That's fantastic. Now, good luck today. We might have a chat to you later on because you're looking pretty hot up there for a podium. So good luck in qualifying, and there'll be a fair bit of slipstreaming. I see you right now. Is that Donaldson you just tucked in behind? Was.
Yeah, we're just having a battle.
Yeah, I presume there's going to be a lot of that, especially down the Hangar Straight. There's going to be a fair bit of slipstreaming and passing under brakes. So good luck today, and we'll hopefully speak to you a little bit later on.
Cheers, thank you.
Thanks, Zach. That was Zach Bates just having a quick chat to us while he was muscling the car around there with Donaldson. He's just been passed by Cody Bircher, and we're going to have a quick talk to Cody as well. Cody, you're live on the broadcast. How you going, buddy?
Good, how are you?
Good, mate. We just watched you live there get past Zach, who was having a bit of fun, I think, with Donaldson. How you feeling, and how you looking forward to this event today at Silverstone?
Oh yeah, I'm feeling pretty tired, to be honest. I'm doing the Le Mans 24 as well at the moment.
Yeah, right.
So I've got to just jump from that straight to this, so I haven't had much sleep, but I mean, I'm excited. Hopefully we can have some good racing like Monza, and see how everything goes.
Yeah, for sure, man. That's full on. But also, I did see on social media you had a test in a Formula 5000 this week. That's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it was. I guess it was an awesome opportunity for GRM to allow everyone that did test the car to test one of them. Really, like they're absolutely amazing piece of kit. Really, it's the power is obviously the biggest standout with the whole thing. Like, you get on the power and it just, like, it's absolutely mental. He pushes you back into the seat, and you got to hold yourself up, and you got to, the G-forces through your body and neck and all that. So
yeah, for sure. I saw you were 290 k's an hour. Was it down the end of Phillip Island there?
Yeah, they touch about 290 down the end of the main straight, and you carry about 220 through turn 1.
That's incredible.
So, yeah, they're an awesome bit of kit. I mean, to just, like, the opportunity itself was amazing, and especially to test with such a prestigious team like GRM was cool as well.
Yeah, for sure, mate. So is that your plan to jump into something like that soon or in the next couple of years?
We don't really know, to be honest. We're sort of just trying to feel our way around a little bit, and see what opportunities pop up. We're not ruling anything out. There's obviously things we'd like to do, but obviously it always comes down to money. And but no, it's definitely an opportunity we're looking at, and hopefully if the right opportunity comes up, we can take a step into something else soon.
Yeah, for sure, mate. That's pretty exciting. And I was just talking to Zach before about, getting back to real world stuff. It's good to see you getting some real seat time out there. What are your other preparations for getting back to real driving?
Well, I really enjoy all my fitness and all that. So every 3-4 days a week, I'll go to the gym, and those other days, and then the other 2 days, well, I pretty well do 4 days of weight training, 2 days of cardio, that sort of thing, and then have a day off.
Yeah,
so
awesome.
A lot of it's just fitness related, I guess, and there's been plenty of sim racing over this extended period of time off, so there's no need to do any more. But
yeah, that's it.
Yeah, with that it's good. I think it's just getting your head wrapped around it all again, getting yourself in the groove, sorting everything out, making sure you're in prime condition for when we do get to go racing, and yeah, pretty well just do all the basics right. And
yeah, well, good luck on that today, man. It's going to be fun. I think 12 laps. Is it going to be 12 laps again around here?
Yeah, 12 laps.
Yeah, so being a long lap, about a 24-minute race, or is it capped to 20 minutes?
Capped at half hour.
Okay, sweet. So we should get all the laps in, which is fantastic. It's a good circuit, this one. It's one of my favourite to watch on telly. I've tried to do a bit of camera work this week to capture that sort of the speed you can take through the corners. So these cars, I know you've taken a lot of wing out, but do they still feel pretty hooked up, like through Maggots and Beckett's?
It's sort of a bit touch and go. I think the track's pretty dirty at the moment. So, it's an awesome track. I think it suits these cars down to the ground. All the aero aspect of the car. I think that's really what Silverstone's about. So, I think the cars probably are moving around a little bit more than they have previously this week. So, it should create some exciting racing and hopefully some close battling as well.
Yeah. No, that'd be good, man. Well, good luck today, and also good luck in the 24-hour race. I know a lot of guys are competing in that and probably on little sleep as well. So, good luck with all that, and all the best, mate.
No worries, thanks, man.
See you later. So that was Cody Birchie just having a quick chat there, and we're going to grab Jake Donaldson. And Jake, you're live on the broadcast. How you going, buddy?
Yeah, not too bad. Yourself?
Good, man. We're just watching you live, heading around the racetrack now, and you're doing a good job out there. How are you feeling for today's race?
Honestly, I'm not feeling too bad. I've done a little bit of practice here, but not as much as some of the other people. So I'm just trying to follow someone at the moment, see if I can pick up a couple tenths.
Yeah, it's a flowing circuit, but also the big, long, the Hangar Straight and also Wellington Straight. You've really got to, get good exits on the corners and get good runs down there. So, and obviously with these cars with the wings dialed out, slipstreaming is going to be hugely important as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, well, learning this track, it's been good. I really enjoy this track. It's just getting faster on here is really, really hard because it's so technical, but you don't realise it.
Yeah, for sure. Now, we're just trying to pick up where you are on the racetrack at the moment. You're just starting a lap. So this little section here, really hard braking zone is, and to get this right, because it doubles around a bit on itself, this right-hander, and then the same with the left-hander once again. Aintree, I think, is called onto the Wellington Straight. Right now, you double around on yourself once again. So, tricky.
Yeah, it's very tricky. Probably should have done a little bit more laps, but this is all fun. I can't wait to get back to the real world and start racing. It's been a long couple of months out of the seat.
Yeah, and what's your plans with that, mate? Have you been doing, I guess, some fitness training and just keeping yourself, as in tune as you can with this sort of stuff, the sim racing, keeping your reflexes up? But what else have you been up to? You've been polishing the car?
Yeah, I just gave my car a nice clean yesterday, making it look nice and shiny for when we go back. But other than that, just keeping fit, going for runs every day, just trying to stay as fit as possible. So when I get back in the car, you know, not too overweight. So yeah, the gym's just opened again, so getting back into those. It's going to be a good routine. So hopefully the next couple of months should be looking good.
Yeah, very good, man. We're looking forward to it as well. Now, there's a driver's briefing, I think, coming up in a couple of minutes, but I wish you well today. Hopefully we can chat to you a little bit later on, and if you can make it up to a podium, we'll get you in for a talk as well.
Sweet as, man.
Okay, good luck, man, and good luck once you get back to the real world as well.
Thanks, man.
Cheers, buddy. That was Jake Donaldson just having a quick chat with us there live from Silverstone as we do get set to go into what will be a fantastic 2 races this evening, 12 laps around this Silverstone circuit in the UK with all the famous turns which I talked about before, and we're running a few different camera angles as well, which will be exciting once we get wheel to wheel into some racing. I'm just looking through the track now to see. There's Jonathan Miles out there at the moment in 12th spot. At the moment we've only got 18 cars out on the track. As we heard from Cody before, there's a lot happening in the sim world this weekend, and a lot of people also just taking advantage of actually getting back and seeing a few mates with the restrictions being lifted. But it's been an interesting one. A lot of guys competing in that 24-hour race, which is insane to do that on a simulator as well as in real life. But I've got a few mates that did last night's session. There's another session still going. I think it started at about 11 p.m. last night. We'll finish at 11 p.m. tonight. So it's all happening in the sim world. Hopefully you've enjoyed this. I'm going to try and quickly have a look over at the chat and reference that. We've got Shane Birch there saying, "G'day Barry, g'day Tiffany, thanks for the 50 stars, 6-week streak, and thanks for the support too." We have the Haley Off-Road now as a broadcast partner, so massive thanks to them. If you've got any 4x4 needs, make sure you check out that link in the description and check them out. Very good shop, very good website. Had a quick look over it today and lots of stuff on there, which is really cool. Some nice pictures. So yeah, we're out there racing. It's good to see once again. I'm looking forward to what these guys can do in qualifying, because it's one of those racetracks where, speaking to Jake before, it's important to get that slipstream, get tucked in behind someone, possibly just follow someone for a few laps and get into a groove, because the quicker guys around here are already doing 2-minute flats. That's Zach Bates, Cooper Allen also just outside the 2-minute mark with a 2:01.3. Then you got Evans, Bircher, Grubel, D'Alia, Foraker, White, Liston, and Curtis there, or Cortis, sorry, in the top 10. So I got to say, Steve White doing a nice job there in 8th spot. So White Dog, as his nickname is, doing a fantastic job in that livery, which, as we said before, is from back in the 90s when he raced these things over in the UK. So isn't that fantastic to see that at the moment? And yeah, this will be good tonight. So if you got some friends that love Formula Ford or just love open wheeler racing, and you know they're on Facebook, just tag them now, tag their names, give it a share, and get them involved in the chat for this evening, because it will be a lot of fun. And very shortly we're going to go to a cool little interview once we do go to this driver's briefing, which I'm expecting very, very soon. Probably in the next 10 seconds or so, we'll see all the cars peel back to the pit lane, and we'll go into probably a 5-minute driver's briefing. So we'll show a little bit of a nice little interview that we have pre-prepared with Paul Morris, who's a larrikin of the sport. He's got a big voice, and I'm a bit of a fan. I reckon he's a funny guy, and he's always been a good racer, good tough racer, and we're going to see a little video of him right now. So check this out, folks. This is Paul Morris.
Formula Ford for me is learning how to grow up, learning how to respect your competitors, and then becoming a racing driver. That's what it is for me.
Paul Morris, most young drivers go from go-karting into Formula 4, but you had a slightly unconventional way into the category. Tell us how you got involved.
Yeah, well, I just started at the local speedway at Surface, which is in the middle of the old raceway, and with some mates, when I first started working, saved up enough money to buy a street stock and race that for a couple of years. Then the local Gemini series, one make series, which was very popular back in Queensland, and the next logical step was Formula Ford for us. So yeah, that's how we got there.
Do you remember the first time you drove a car, where and when and what?
Yeah, we bought a used RF86, and myself and Troy Dunstan took it to Lakeside, and I remember the first time I drove it, I thought I was driving a Formula 1 car compared to the Gemini. It was just the most exciting day of my life, really. I still remember it to that day.
They were pretty competitive days of the Australian Formula Ford Championship back then. What was your sort of memories of those 3 seasons that you spent in the series?
My memories were really the friendships that I made out of it. Like that's where I met Russ Engel, that's where I met Michael Gagan, that's where I met Brett Peters. That's where I met a lot of people, Michael Quinn, like a lot of amazing people in motorsport, and we raced pretty hard back in those days, but man, we had a good time doing it as well. We were always on the road. There was unlimited testing. We'd just go and test at Amory Park for a week. That was sort of the thing you'd do, wear out tyres. Yeah, it's it was an awesome way to grow up and see the country and learn all the tracks and have a good time and learn how to race, really.
You've had a remarkably diverse career since then. What sort of grounding did driving Formula Fords give you for the rest of your career?
It gave you good racecraft, because if you made a mistake, you plucked a wheel off the car, but you still had to race very closely. So it taught you to respect the people around you and drive within the limits of open wheel racing. You know, if you get too close, you're upside down and you can get hurt. But it taught you also a lot of the fundamentals of how a car works. So it's springs, it's shocks, it's anti-roll bars, it's ride heights, it's brake bias, it's throttle control, it's brake control. All that stuff you need, you can't learn anywhere else except in Formula Ford. So it should be celebrated, and it's 50 years, is it? So it's fantastic.
You bought one of your old cars back. You raced it at Bathurst this year. What was it like going back in time and getting back in the car?
I loved it. I absolutely loved it, and the biggest thing for me, last time I raced a Formula Ford, I raced it, but I really didn't. I could do a lap time and I could race someone, and I could run up the front and win a race and do all that stuff, but I really didn't know how I did it. Yeah. And then I've learnt so much about driving since then, and that was the first time I'd driven it in that car since 1991. So to get back in it and understand the fundamentals and technique of being a race driver just proved to me what a great training ground Formula Ford is.
Yeah, what a legend of the sport as well. So that was Paul Morris speaking to Formula Ford earlier on about his involvement and how much it gave him a leg up in the sport as well. Big thanks, Brock Schaefer, for the 200 stars, a 4-week streak. Really appreciate your support, buddy. And we don't have any alerts popping up for the Formula Fords. Unfortunately, that was just a little requirement they wanted to broadcast. But I'll try and read out any of those follows and likes and all that sort of stuff as they do pop up on my other screen. But we didn't have the driver's briefing, so 30 seconds to go here. All the cars have remained out on the track, which is interesting to see. We're going to go to qualifying very soon, and hopefully I'll fix that crackle in the mic that we had before, and everything's nice and clear now. Let me know in the chat if it isn't. We're going to do a quick promo, then we're going to go straight into qualifying. Let's get set for that. Right, let's get set for qualifying here with all the action down at the racetrack. They're already out there setting some times, and I'm going to bring that to you right now. And we'll try and bring you a couple of different ways of doing that tonight. We've got sector times, which will pop up on the screen. We're going to show you that down the bottom of the screen now. We'll also have on the left-hand side of your screen the times will appear once they do get their quick laps done and dusted. Now, we've got to remember here in iRacing that your times don't count if you go off the track, so it's really important that these guys do set a nice clean lap there as Steve White just rotates the car as he heads out on his quick lap. Let's go make sure we're live here. Thanks to Yokohama for all our replays this evening. And we'll get down to the racetrack now. You can see no times have been set yet. Down the bottom you can see Will Liston it is, just out there on the racetrack setting. Well, he's just leaving the pit lane, that's why it's come up there. Zach Bates has currently just set a couple of purple sectors in 2 and 3. So Cody Bircher also quickest in sector 4. Those times should start to come up on the screen very soon for us to see as they do set those sectors for us. Hopefully doing well out there. Big thanks once again to Tiffany, Brock, Shane for getting involved on the chat. And we've got about 18 drivers out there at the moment getting set for this one this afternoon. It should be a good evening of racing. 2 races tonight, 12 laps each, with the second one having the reverse top 10, which always makes it interesting indeed. We'll start to see a lap probably very soon come through. I'm just seeing Zach Bates now. He's coming towards, well, he's on his quick lap now. So we've got drivers just finishing their out laps. Let's see who's the furthest person through on an actual flying lap would be Bates. So we'll stay with him on this lap. In fact, we'll ride on board and just watch through this section of the racetrack now, which used to be the old last couple of corners. You came down through this one, Luffield, big right-hander, almost a double apex right-hander here. Flat on the power 3 wood coat it is. As you turn right, these guys can just cut the track a little bit there. You can see right over to the barrier goes Bates there. He hasn't gone quick on this sector though. Sector 2 is a yellow sector, as you can see down the bottom of the screen. So Bates just tips it in there through the very fast Cops corner. Now we head down to Maggots and Beckett's, one of the greatest corners in racing. He's gone purple there in sector 3, so that's good. He's picked up his pace again there. So you tip it into the right, tip it to the left, tip it back to the right again, basically just easing out of the throttle. Not a lot of brake application through there. These cars naturally slow down with their aerodynamic downforce as soon as you do lift off the throttle. In fact, I've heard interviews where they talk about Formula 1 cars, for example. Lifting out of the throttle is like basically a punch in the back, like the brake being applied, so it's pretty incredible when you think of that. They do have a lot of the downforce wound out of these cars today though, so they're probably not experiencing that too much. Just after the 100 metre board, braking hard down now into this final couple of corners, the braking zone. It's really important to get the last corner right because it gives you the run. You see the sausage curb conveniently placed on the outside of the corner there, just to stop drivers going out there and taking a little bit of advantage. Bates crosses the line with a 2:01.0, so there you go. That's the first quick lap to go out there. Now Cooper Allen's just gone pretty quick as he comes through in second place there. It is an open qualifying session, so all the cars are out there on the racetrack. We may start to see a few guys bunch up and try and get that slipstream advantage if they can. So we'll see how we go during this qualifying event. It is half an hour, so it's a fair chunk of time to try and get it right. We're 5 minutes in at the moment, so and throughout this time we might get a few more interviews as well with some different drivers while they're out there on the racetrack. Ryder Quinn currently up in 5th spot. Seeing Ryder now just come through the first couple of corners as well. See how much it tightens up there. That's called the loop. And it is a really tight, almost a hairpin corner you would call it, before we come back down through Aintree onto the Wellington Straight. We'll just follow this shot with Ryder Quinn as he heads down this Wellington Straight. Under the bridge there, past our camera, brakes at about the 90 metre board. Chip it in here once again, really important. You can just see he had to recorrect the steering there. Got a little bit of snap oversteer and just really quick to get that sorted out so he didn't go around. And like we've said right throughout this series, these cars are not very forgiving. Once you get sideways, it's very easy for it to be all over Red Rover and you're pointing the wrong way. So at the moment, it's 4/10 between Bates and Allen. Bircher about 1.1 seconds off the pace at the moment. I'm pretty sure he's leading this comp, so I'm going to try and bring up the standings for us a little bit later in the broadcast, if we can get those sent through to us, and we'll just be able to tell you exactly who's who and where they are. And you'll probably find with a few drivers missing tonight, I'd say all the main contenders are still in there for this series. We'll be out there racing today. Bates, Allen, Grubel's done a nice job there up into 3rd spot. There he is on your screen now. Let's try and get a nice shot of this car as he just goes through the loop once again. We'll zoom in. Doesn't it look nice? It's got it's a nice plain straight livery, but looks fantastic as he gets down that Wellington Straight. It's got the Race Centre logo up there on the car as well, which is fantastic to see a sim racing venue getting a little bit of sponsorship out there and a bit of exposure on one of these race cars, which is fantastic. Okay, just looking down through the field as well, we've got Bircher, Foraker, Liston, Donaldson and Quinn, they're all very close together. You can see that from third down to 8th position, all within a second at the moment. I'm expecting that will close up even more once the laps start to get finalised here. And as I say, we're only 6.5 minutes into what is quite a long session here. As Bates now just improves a little bit there, not by a lot, but he does stay at the top there with a 2-minute flat .966. So just improving bit by bit. We're going to have a chat to Steve White, and he's out there on the racetrack at the moment. Let's bring him in for a chat now. Steve, you're live on the broadcast. How you going, buddy?
Yeah, good, Lucas. Yourself?
Good, mate. I probably shouldn't have asked you to talk to me as you go through Maggots and Beckett's. That's not the easiest part of the racetrack. But, mate, the livery looks great on the car. Tell us a little bit about that. It's your 90s livery?
Yeah, it's from 1996 when I raced in the British Formula Renault Championship.
That's really cool, mate. It looks very good. And how are you finding it out there this afternoon, first of all? Is it hanging on all right for you?
There's not a lot of grip today for some unknown reason. In practice leading up to the event, we had a lot more grip, and but for this session today, we're just struggling to keep her on the ice.
Yeah, I did jump in and have a quick look at that practice too. The times were pretty comparative to what they're doing now, but yeah, like you're saying, I think Cody said before that the track seems pretty dirty out there, and I think Jake might have also mirrored that thought. So just watching you tip it through turn one there, a good job. It's looking nice though. How you feel about talking us through a lap around here? Just haven't got you the sec, Steve. We'll just try and fix that connection. Okay, I think you're there now.
Yeah, I can hear you. Just busy concentrating.
Oh, that's all right.
It's interesting the track now because it's a different configuration the way it was when I last drove here in '98.
Yep, we'll let you just concentrate. I'll speak when you're going through these hard sections if you want. But yeah, the old track. I mean, being that I'm I love the new one. I love watching on telly. I do remember the old days, how it used to sort of go left and under the bridge and wind around, and they do still have that on iRacing, which is cool. Which one do you prefer?
I prefer the original track, and like this used to be the old front straight. We used to come up here to Cops, just a light lift and then back on the power again. And it was borderline for being nearly flat, and you probably could do it with a good setup and good tyres. And then up in here into Maggots and Beckett's was pretty quick as well. It's a challenging circuit because it's all about getting the car to flow.
Yeah, for sure. We're just watching that now. Good flow through there. And then obviously the run out of there onto the straight through Chapel there. It's important to get a good run because it's such a long straight. You're going to be jumping in slipstreams here trying to get that advantage. And tell us about Stowe Corner because this one is a bit off camber, is it?
Yeah, it's a tricky one because the camber changes as you go through it, and the radius of the corner also changes as you get closer, and so you've got to just judge your speed and just drive to what you feel with the grip of the tyre at the time. And it's amazing, like you only need to be a tenth slower through there, and like you've lost 3/10 just in that little...
Yeah, for sure, mate. And it's we might let you go for a little bit. We might try and jump back and have a chat to you towards the end of qualifying, if that's all right, because I'd love to hear more of your insight, especially being someone that has raced here in Formula Ford and Formula Renault. So I'll let you just get out there and do a few laps, get your head into it, and then we'll try and have a talk before quali's done.
All right, thanks, mate.
Thanks, Steve. So that was Steve White. We're just having a quick chat there, but I don't want to take too much of his time when he's out there because he is really working the car hard to get into the top 10 at the moment. He's in 12th. And I think if I wasn't talking to him, he'd probably easily be up there in the top 10. So we'll just let him go and have a bit of time to sort that out, and then we'll probably try and cross back to him because I'd love to talk more about the amazing experiences he's had with racing cars all around the world, but especially at this track that we're at today. It's Bates and Bircher at the top still, so let's get those times back up on the board. So Bates, Bircher, Allen, Gribble, and Miles. That's your top 5. D'Allia, Foraker, Liston up there in 8th. That's a good job. And Evans and Donaldson rounding out your top 10. The times have come down now. You can see the top 10 is covered by 1.3 seconds. It was about 2 seconds before. So we're starting to see those times start to close up. And it could also be to do with this sort of thing we're seeing now, where we can see Cordis and Foraker, who are right on board with Jake Foraker, just getting a little bit of a tow. And maybe on an outlap here because they are playing around a little bit, these guys. But yeah, you're going to see a fair bit of that, I think, towards the end of qualifying. In fact, some of the drivers may be chatting to each other now, just saying, hey, how about we help each other out a bit? It is one of those circuits where you can probably gain 3 or 4 tenths easily by sitting in a tow around this place. But like we do see at a lot of tracks, we saw it at Monza, it's very easy to make a mistake when you're trying to, choreograph that sort of thing. You see Foraker now, so this will cost him a little bit of time. He gets right up behind him through Copse Corner, and then he'll back out of it there. So that actually worked all right. So Cortis, I think, working here with Jake Foraker just to try and build their times a little bit. We are running identical liveries, and all those he just got in his way there. Oh boy, almost. So yeah, like I say, it's easy to trip over each other. That's the other problem with this. Now we've got Josh Glynn out there tonight. He's racing, I think, for the first time with us this series. But there he is on the screen right now. We'll just give him a little bit of airtime. And he contacted me just before the event as using someone else's iRacing account, which is totally fine. But having a run here tonight, which is fantastic. So good luck, Josh, out there on the racetrack right now. Down in 17th place, fair bit off the pace, but, first run out there, first run. I'm sure he'll improve that over the space of the evening. Ron Bioki's out there once again, tuning in from the US of A in the number 42 car. He's currently down in 14th place for listed race cars. So let's see how he goes tonight. I'd say he loses the back end, so maybe struggling a little bit there with just getting the feel of the car. As we heard Steve say before, it's very, very loose and dirty out there on the racetrack. So Will Liston's just gone up into 6th place with that time. So there he is. He's obviously been putting in a bit of practice. In fact, I think he may have put up a practice server earlier today. So he's doing a good job, and that's what you want to see. It's important that guys get out there and, practice hard if they want to have a good result. Just like the real world, you got to keep fit, you got to keep your training up. It's with iRacing, it's you got to get on there and do those sessions and do your lap times, get used to the different cars. The setup they only get given, I think, yesterday, so it takes a while for some of these drivers to get used to that because it's a secret setup. And like I say, they have tuned a lot of the wing out of it, which makes it very, very hard to drive. There's Cody Bircher, Tony Lay forward on the side of that car, and he's currently up there in 2nd spot for Synergy Motorsport. So we had a quick talk to him before about his thoughts, on getting back to real world racing, just keeping fit and making sure that he's set to go when they do finally get the green light out there in the real world to get back to the racetrack. Jonathan Miles, let's get him up on the screen for a little bit. So he's running in the 14 car tonight. Nice little green livery there. It's the old Jordan, the old Eddie Jordan livery. And looking very nice, 7 up. And let's see how he goes tonight. Actually, that's one of my favourite Formula One shapes of cars that had that livery on it exactly. I think that, would it be 91? Someone tell me if I'm right or wrong, but it would be around that era, I think. Early 90s, 91, 92 maybe. I'm sure someone on the chat can correct me. The 7-Up Jordan, but it was just the most beautiful shape, and in fact the Ferraris around that time as well just had the best shape I think Formula One have ever been, and it's great to see that livery out on a race car today in this session. And we are here. Big thanks to the Formula Ford Association for getting behind this sim racing event and putting it on for all the fans out there, and also the drivers to do something during the downtime with this COVID-19 pandemic. So Zach Bates still up the front, only leading by 1700ths of a second now over Bircher. Allen's up in 3rd spot, Grubel, Miles, Liston, then Dialia in 7th place. And Dialia 1.2 seconds off the pace, exact same time as Liston. So those guys are pretty close. They're going to ding-dong it out all evening, I reckon. We're about halfway through qualifying now, so fair bit going on. We are going to try and cross to a few more drivers during this next 15 minutes. We'll keep an eye too once we see Steve White in the pits. We'll go back and have a chat with him once again because he does have that real world experience of racing around this place, which is pretty cool. And it was great to hear him just talk about, being almost flat through the old Copse Corner, which is the old Turn 1, which is now, I think, the GP2, or where they also put the Super Cup, the Porsche Super Cup cars when they race at Silverstone. They have those cars parked around at the old paddock area. And it's fantastic just to talk about that. And I'm sure he's got some fantastic stories and fantastic memories that he could share with us if we had a little bit more time. But anyway, we're out there racing. This is going to be good. So 15 minutes to go. Then we get into race number 1, which will be that about a 24-minute race, I'd say 12 minutes. 12 laps, sorry, and then we do the reverse top 10 for the second race, which would be fantastic. Just going through, we can see Trent Gribble. We'll have a look at his car once again because I'm really intrigued in this livery. It's it looks a little bit plain, but it's when you get up close to it, and I'm going to try and get a close camera angle because it's a bit hard to do. I do find a lot of the camera angles, I did try and tighten them up a bit here for Silverstone, but they are a fair way off, being that the track is set on an old aerodrome. It's a lot of the corners, a lot of the cameras are set back behind the fence, which is a long way off where the actual racetrack is. So, but there he is, just coming down past the start-finish straight now, and then we'll get an overhead shot very soon as well. You'll be able to see him come down through there. We'll get that shot now. So this one here, I should be able to zoom right in on the car, and we'll check it out once again. It's just a great-looking livery. He's got some Pulse Racing, the race centre livery on there as well. Looks fantastic. So they do a lot of effort, these guys, trying to get their real-world liveries and other things onto the cars, and it does make it a spectacle when you can. You know, I remember games a while ago where you couldn't do that. You couldn't have your real-world livery on the car. You just had to run a generic sort of livery. This days with iRacing, you can have anything you want, or you can have exactly what you want, which is fantastic. And if you're watching Dan Houlihan, probably glad we don't have one of your paint jobs out here from your virtual world, because we almost got in trouble with one of those at Laguna Seca, didn't we? That was a bit of fun. But Cody Birchie now does go to the top with some purple sectors there, so he's done a 2:08, so 76 thousandths of a second quicker than Zach Bates. So it's going to be close between those two when it comes down to dropping the green flag on this race, I think. Birchie just slowing the car down now, looking for maybe some track position. He's gone past the pit entry, so he's possibly just checking where he is on the racetrack. He's got no one behind him. Bates is about 12 seconds behind. He doesn't really have anyone in front either, so I think he's just going to wait now and prepare the car for another flying lap as we go to the chopper cam and have a look down, thanks to SRT Australia. And you can just see him preparing the car, going quite slow. So I'm not sure exactly why. Now he is waiting for Bates, so Bates just coming past now, and he gets back on the throttle. So this is possibly a strategic thing here for Birchie to try and jump behind Bates and grab a toe for a lap here. I'm not sure. Did leave it a bit late to initiate that lap though, so he's going to drop back a fair way. In fact, he's going to run really wide for the circuit there. Oh, okay, so they're on the back part of the circuit. I got confused there with the where we were on the racetrack. So through Maggots and Beckett, so he's in a good position now to start the next lap if he can keep up with him and get up onto the back of him. No, he backs out of it, so there you go. We just saw that. So I do get tricked a fair bit at this circuit with the two pit lanes. It's easy to catch yourself out. There's Jake Foraker, so he's currently running in 9th position in the top 10. You want to try and move up a little bit from there though, so let's see how he goes. Who else haven't we talked about tonight? Yeah, Henry Thomas Kircher out there racing down in 15th at the moment. And let's see what he does on this lap now as he starts a new one. He'll set out there. We might actually ride on board with him for a lap here. In fact, let's go to the visor cam, which we haven't looked at too much today. So we'll jump on board in the visor cam now, and we'll ride around here with Henry, getting his perspective of this racetrack. So goes in through this section here, Village, and then into this loop. Tight left-hander, almost a hairpin there. Then you get hard on the throttle now, up through Aintree onto the Wellington Straight. Tip the car in, duck down nice and low in the cockpit, let the air run over the top of you, and then we head down towards very fast Brooklands corner. It comes up on you very quickly, this one. It almost feels off camber, but it's just a very flat left-hander. Tightens up though on itself, keeps going around. Then you're into this hard right-hander now, double apex right-hander through Luffield, then down Woodcote onto the old start-finish straight once again. So hard on the throttle. You can just see, looking down at his telemetry there on the dash as we head past the pit lane. You can have a look over at the fans, look over at the stands, the old factory there as well. Then down through this fast right-hander Cops Corner. Then you've really got to get things sorted now as you start to prepare yourself for Maggots and Beckett's. Really important part of the racetrack to get a nice smooth flow through here. You tip it to the left, into the right now, through Maggots. Then you slow it down a little bit with just getting off the throttle through Beckett's. Then through the right-hander, which takes you through Chapel, which is the left-hander here, onto the back straight, the hanger straight, and then we're flat out down here once again. So you can just see 6th gear, 7th gear now as we get up to full speed down this back straight. On the brakes at about the 70 metre mark. This tightens up through the big right-hander here at Stowe Corner, and then we go down towards this braking zone at Vale. And hard on the brakes, about the 90-metre board there. Hard on the brakes into this sharp left-hander. Don't touch the sausage curve there. Little left-right complex here. Then through the final club corner, very fast right-hander takes you back onto the main straight. There's a lap around Silverstone with our brand new visor cam here at Lucas Esports. Hopefully you enjoyed that. And that was Henry Thomas Kocher. He didn't go any quicker on that one. He stays down in 16th place. So there you go. It's let's go and have a look at. We've just had Samuel Woodland join. So there's Samuel just joining us now. So that's good to have him out there on the racetrack. Let's see if he can put a time in soon, because we are now 22 minutes into this qualifying session. So it's going pretty quickly, and you don't want to get left out there without a lap time on the board with only a couple of minutes to go. You don't want that sort of pressure on yourself, do you? So at the moment it's still Bircher, Bates, Allen, Evans, Grubel, Miles, Liston, Dialia, Foraker and Cortis is your top 10. So Steve Cortis out there on the racetrack once again. You can see he's off the racetrack at the moment for SSR. And I think he's still there with Foraker here. So you can just see in the distance there behind the car of Cortis is Jake Foraker. I think they may be planning a little bit of a lap here together once again. So they've been trying this for the majority of qualifying, in fact, to work together and get this tow happening. Let's have a look as they do it once again. Take a 2-minute break here. We'll be back very soon with all the action as we head into race 1. Looking forward to this. All right, so welcome back, guys. We've got 5 minutes to go in qualifying. We're just chatting there in the back play just to get this Twitch cam set up for Jake Donaldson. We might ride on board with him now so you can see Jake out on the track and also live via Twitch, and that's his perspective as he just loops the car around there right on cue. And unfortunately, as we do a live cross, he's gone around. We don't have any audio, obviously. We like to let the drivers just speak to their fans, but you can go and follow them. So a fair few of the drivers do have their own Twitch accounts and all that sort of stuff, which is a huge part of modern racing. And I guess these days it's part of your social media and the media campaigns you need to run as a race car driver. We see the likes of Lando Norris and many of the other younger F1 drivers that have their Twitch accounts, and they race online, Max Verstappen and such as well. So it's a pretty cool little feature. And I'm sure, I mean, like things always are evolving in the racing world, and with your portfolio when it comes to, as we see Cody Bircher there off the racetrack with Glynn, was it? No, sorry. It might have been Bircher as well. So, yeah, it's just something you got to have in your portfolio. You got to have your social medias up there running, and it's a way to engage with the fans, which is fantastic. And it's all a part of it these days, isn't it? It's across all forms of motorsport, music, everything. So Benjamin D'Alia, we haven't spoken about too much. There he is out there in 8th place at the moment. We'll get him up on an onboard shot just shortly to watch him go down the back straight here, down the hangar straight. You see he's got Glynn, I think it is, tucked in behind him, trying to get a tow, but he's got no one in front of him. And in fact, it's listed in the pit lane. It's miles 54 seconds up the road. So pretty clear track out there. We've had up to 45, I think, cars. We had racing at Phillip Island the first race, and it's at least at this track with not too many cars. It means that there's not going to be a lot of carnage, fingers crossed, through the first section of the racetrack, because it is important through Abbey Farm Village and then obviously the loop. They can really compact up through there on lap 1. So we're going to hope that they have a quick talk in the driver's briefing and make sure they do keep it nice and clean when we do start this race in about 2.5 minutes time. Hopefully you're looking forward to it. I am. It's good fun on a Sunday afternoon to be doing a bit of sim racing with some real world drivers from the Formula Ford Australian Championship running in this fantastic eChallenge. And big thanks once again to the Formula Ford Association for supporting this event, putting it on during the COVID-19 pandemic, and a little something for the drivers to do between or while they're waiting for the real racing to come back. So very good indeed. So Ben D'Alia, who's on the screen right now, is the current Victorian champion for Formula 4, so that's pretty cool. Bit of insight about Ben. He runs around in 8th position, coming to terms with this Formula Renault out there on the racetrack. Yes, that's a good job. I'm sure, being the defending champion, he'll be keen to get back to racing sometime this year and win a few races and put a mark on the title once again. So flick down through Trent Gribble there up in 5th. He's having a great run, isn't he? Kyle Evans as well. We haven't spoken too much about running in 4th spot. He's got, just seeing who that is behind. I think that might be Donaldson tucked in behind. It is. So Jake Donaldson just tucked in behind. He's gone a bit wide through turn 1 there. So that gives Kyle Evans a bit of breathing space here, because quite often when you see another driver trying to steal a bit of a toe off you, it can put you off your game a little bit. In fact, he pulls off the racetrack. So there you go. Cooper Allen just comes through behind. Young fella there in 3rd spot at the moment, 3 or nearly 4 tenths off the pace. So let's see if he can. No, he's not going to improve as well. So that's pretty much it. Being that it is a 2.5 minute outlap or so around this place, quite a slow pit exit as you head up the hill out of the pits. A lot of the drivers are now backing out, and that will be the end of their run. Ryder Quinn out there in 15th spot in the very yellow car, just coming through Maggots now and heading down towards the back straight. You can just see him come through. And yeah, 15th spot. It'll be a matter of these guys that are down the back just keeping their nose clean through the first couple of corners and making sure they stay out of trouble. We should get set very soon to reset, which is what we do here before we go to qualifying. Here we go. Reset happens right now. Here we go. Race number 1 about to come up, and this is going to be fantastic. Race 1 here from Silverstone for the Formula Ford eChallenge. Let's get the grid up for you on the screen. And it's going to be Cody Bircher and Zach Bates off the front row, with Cooper Allen and Kyle Evans running off row 2. Gribble and Miles running out of the 3rd row there as they start to grid up for me now. Then we've got Foraker and Liston off the 4th row, D'Alia and Cordes running off the 5th row. Donaldson and White back in the 6th row. Then we've got, as we go over the page here for our grid, let's quickly move it over now to 15th spot. Oh, sorry, Girton and Bjerke there back in 14th spot. Then we've got Quinn and Thomas Kircher, Woodland, Glynn, and Race Control just keeping an eye on things out there for us this afternoon. So all the race cars out on the track there, 18 in total, getting set for a start here at Silverstone. And we'll just wait. We've got about a minute left in staging time here. And Ryder, good to see him running there. He's a young Kiwi Formula Ford racer joining the Aussie guys for this eChallenge. And we should get a start very soon. Just waiting on Bircher and Gribble to grid up, and then we'll get the green lights and away we will go. So this should be a fun race And we're looking at 12 laps around this place. Let's hope they can keep it clean. They do call it Heat 1 in iRacing, but it is race 1 of the evening. Just waiting on Birchie now to grid up, and then we will get set for a start here at Silverstone. Here the driver's getting a little bit impatient down there. Just looking out the back there, you can see from Zach Bates' car. Just wait, Cody will grid up soon. He's actually been instructed to wait till the 2-minute mark, which is fantastic. That helps me out with reading through the grid when we do have a lot more drivers. But tonight, I've got all that done and dusted. So we're looking at Birchie, Bates off the front row, Allen and Evans off the second row. In the chat, let me know who your money is on to make the start here and get away nicely at the front. We've seen that Birchie and Bates have been super close as Birchie now does make it to the grid. We are getting set for a start. Here we go, folks. This is going to be fantastic. And let's see if they get away nicely at the front. Let's watch Cody Bircher off the front row. We get the revs rise. We'll get a green light any second now, and we'll be underway for race 1 of the evening. The clutches drop, and off we go. Nice start indeed by Cody Bircher. Gets away in front of Bates as they head down towards turn 1. All the cars getting away nicely. No one stalled it up on the grid, which is fantastic to see. It is Bircher getting through there from Allen, Bates, Grubel and Evans still staying in that order. Good job. There's a bit of smoke at the back. That's Steve White, unfortunately. I think he's been involved in something down the back there as they will compress up through this section, through the loop for the first time. All the cars under brake, so you can just see down the pack there, getting very close indeed. That's Fouracre jostling for position there with Cortis it is. So these guys who are practicing right throughout the start there in qualifying even, practicing their wheel-to-wheel action. They're right at it straight away. Look at that. White still, I think he had an off-track back there, but he's still running, but lost 4 positions off the start there, back down to 16th spot. So interesting. We'll have to go back and have a quick look. I think it was Jono Miles that crashed out as well. So Steve White crashed with Ryder Quinn at the start. We'll go and check that out shortly once everything settles itself down a little bit in this race. Meanwhile, at the front though, Cody Bircher, a nice lead at the moment over Cooper Allen. Zach Bates back in third. As we head down through Cops for the first time, you can see Cooper Allen not far off the back of Cody Bircher though, so he'll try and close up now. If he can stay with him through Maggots and Beckett's, he'll then be able to have a great run down the Hangar Straight, and that's where a lot of passing opportunities are going to come out in this race. So watch this down through here. You can just see as they all come through there. We'll just get the camera to stay there. You can see they're already gapping out a little bit there. I think it's Dialia there quite close. Cooper Allen just gets passed by Bates now. So Zach Bates, I'm not sure if Cooper had a bit of a mistake. He has. He's dropped right back. In fact, he may have an issue. Riding on board with him now, you can just see he's dropping right back. He's got a gearbox issue by the sounds of it, or... yeah, so he's dropping right back through the field. In fact, he may have got what is a slowdown. If you run wide in iRacing, you get a slowdown, and that can force you to let time lapse. And he still seems to be dropping out right out of the racing line there. He goes down the inside, in fact, with, I think it's Liston just to his right. So not sure what happened there, but my guess would be that he got a slowdown by cutting a corner somewhere, and that's been enforced with the iRacing rules. So Bircher crosses the line, still in position 1. Zach Bates in second there. Dialia starting to catch up to Kyle Evans, who's in third spot. We're on board now with Benjamin Dialia, a Victorian champion, and he goes hard on the brakes here into Village, and then we'll go hard left into the loop just shortly. You can see it's really, really tricky as in front. Evans goes really wide. This will give Dialia a bit of a run on him here as he goes through Aintree onto the Wellington Straight. Will stay with this. I reckon he'll be able to put on a pass here. Goes to the left. That is the inside line for the next corner coming up, which is Brooklands. So nice job as they run wheel to wheel. You can just see Evans goes nice and wide out there though to give himself a better run through the corner, because then he'll have the inside for the next couple of right-handers, which is Luffield. So good racing between these two drivers, keeping it nice and clean. Kyle Evans hangs on there to third spot at the front. We're only on lap 2 of 12. We've got Girton off the racetrack. We're going to go back and have a look at the replay of the start with Steve White, see if we can work out, thanks to Yokohama, what happened there. And this was it. Going down into turn 1 it was. So Whitey just got a little bit loose, and unfortunately the car bit him back, and you can just see, I think that was Ryder Quinn getting into the side of him. And from there on he spins it, does a full pirouette, and someone in front as well going around, then gets it running again. So yeah, we did pick that up on the timing screen. He's carrying a fair bit of front wing damage there, is Stephen White. So unfortunately that cost him a fair bit of time. Let's go back to live. We'll go back to this little battle here now as Donaldson has gotten past Liston. Liston's got all the pressure in the world now from Jake Fouracre. Check this out. In fact, let's ride on board with Jake Fouracre. We might go to visor cam for the first time tonight as well. So check this out. This is Jakey Fouracre here. Oh, there's a crash in front. You just saw that on visor cam. I'm not sure who that was going around, but that was really interesting. In fact, Fouracre dives into the pit lane here, so watch him down to that speed limit, just hard on the brakes there, gets the limiter on and into the pits now. He's going to go through and take his service. I'm not sure exactly why he's doing that so early, but interesting times indeed. Let's go back to some track cams and see what happened there with that crash. I'm just going to try and work out who that was that spun around. I think it may have been Cooper Allen. Let's have a look at a quick replay. Cooper Allen definitely involved in an incident there. As we go back now and have a look, yeah, we saw this was up the road, so we saw Fouracre jump in the pits there. Cooper Allen just going over the curb, and then he gets involved in a little bit of a touch there with the black car. Everyone else jumping out of the way, gets it running once again there. I think Thomas Kircher was the other car possibly involved in that. And I think it may have been Kyle Evans that had the incident earlier on. So we're just going to go back and have a look at that one. And it was Kyle Evans going off at Stowe Corner by the looks of things. Dived down to the inside. And let's just see what happened here. Did he lose it all by himself? He did. The back end went around. We've seen a lot of that today. And how did nobody hit him there? Oh, there was a hit. So that may be why Jake Fouracre had to go to the pit lane. Just connected with Kyle Evans there. Let's go back to live. So that hopefully explains a little bit of that action for you guys that were watching at home and were wondering why he jumped into the pit lane. He obviously took a fair bit of damage with that hit. Just watching Cody Bircher here. The gap at the moment, 1.7 seconds. We'll go back to this battle here between Liston and Grubel. This is for position 5. These guys are hard at it and racing really well at the moment. And you can see also Thomas Kircher's managed to just get back up to 7th spot. So that's a nice start, really, up 7 spots from where he started and running in the top 10. Cooper Allen's kept it running. He dropped 5 positions, but he's back up into 8th. So Cooper Allen running there just in front of Bjerke, and then you got Jake Donaldson in 10th position as Liston gets the job done there and keeps running there up in 6th spot. We got Grubel just up the road. We're going to try and find some other battles. This one here is pretty red hot between Cooper Allen, who's ahead now of Thomas Kircher, under brakes there. Kircher very late on the brakes indeed, and he won't get the move done though as Cooper Allen gets a better run through there. And through Club Corner, you'll see him back onto the main straight here and pulls out a fair bit, about half a second lead through that little section leading back onto the start-finish straight. So good job indeed. And who else is still running out there? Cortis. Running in a close battle, I mean. So Cortis is still just ahead of Grubel. So this will be interesting to watch if Trent Grubel's planning a bit of an attack here on lap 4 of 12. See if he can possibly get up behind and take position. I know they'll be waiting these guys for any little mistake to pounce on it. Let's ride on board with Trent. Down this Wellington straight. Just see him close up with the slipstream. Will he send it down the inside? He has a look. He shapes to the inside, but he doesn't send it. He just has a look, trying to put a bit of a double thought into Cortis's mind. In fact, it has. Is he going to get past here? He's going to try and go around the outside. You can see Cortis on the inside there, holding onto the apex. Around the outside he goes, and I think he's got the move done. We're going to go down the old start finish straight here. He's got the move done, so that's a great pass indeed. We saw that start with a little bit of gamesmanship down into Brooklands, and he's hung on there, so he'll go up towards, or through Cops Corner now, and up towards Magnus and Beckers. He'll stay ahead, and in fact he's got about a 0.3 of a second lead now over Cortis, so that's a good little effort there in the space of 3 or 4 corners as they come through this fantastic fast-flowing section of the racetrack. And good to watch, isn't it? So looking back towards Steve Cortis, and you can see there's a good battle with Jake Donaldson, who's working his way up now once again on the back of Cooper Allen. And he's up 1 spot from where he started, Jake, so be happy with that. Moving forward through the field, he's battling hard here with Cooper Allen. You can see how much they're playing around these guys, which is good to see. And he had to back out of the throttle. You saw that wheel to wheel as we go down once again. Look at that. This is good. Can he hang on around the outside? This would be an incredible pass if he goes around the outside there. He does. How's that for action, folks? Around the outside, through Stowe Corner, and he hangs onto it. So good effort there by young Jake Donaldson to move himself into 9th position there and put Cooper Allen back to 10th. So he's moved forward nicely, up a couple of positions there. We'll put the gains up for you on the screen right now so you can just see who is moving and shaking. Thomas Kircher, the biggest one in the field. 9 places he's made up in the first 5 laps. So that's fantastic, isn't it? And continue to run on here. So just looking at the lap time comparison too between these guys, you can just see on the middle of your screen there, Donaldson. Well, that's between miles. Let me just go up one. In fact, Cooper Allen was just challenging back there, wasn't he? So, but with the lap time, we'll just try and go to this one here. That should tell us. No, it doesn't. So it's all messing up for me at the moment. But Donaldson and Allen, there you go. Now we got the right one. You can just see the difference with that spin that Allen had, dropping back all that time. So once again, they're at it though, these two. It's going to be a battle of the evening, I reckon, as we look back from Donaldson's car. You can just see now, once again, how close Cooper Allen is to come down through this section. You've got to hang on to the front of the car here. It wants to push away. You get a fair bit of understeer through this section as we go down past the old start-finish straight. Let's ride on board with Cooper Allen because I think he's on for a bit of a challenge here. In fact, let's go to visor cam as he goes wheel to wheel here with Donaldson. You can just see him jostling here. Oh, almost a touch there as we head in through the old first corner. Goes a little bit wide, but you see him just holding on here, trying to keep in the slipstream. You don't want to make a move into here, surely through maggots. He just wants to stay close now. You can stay nice and close to the back of him through this part of the racetrack, then get the run down the hanger straight. That's where you'll make a move down into Stowe Corner at the end of this big, long back straightaway. This used to be an old airfield back in the war days. And look at this, how close they are. This is fantastic to watch. This goes wheel to wheel now with Donaldson. Cooper Allen is going to go down into Stowe Corner side by side, and he gets the job done by the looks of things. So nice pass. Donaldson will just tuck back in behind again as we see all that from the new visor cam, which is fantastic. Donaldson now straight away has a shot back at him. Under brakes there, Donaldson will have the outside run, which will give him the inside run. So if he sticks it there, which I think he's done, good job. These guys really, really racing well, aren't they? Donaldson and Cooper Allen just showing their real-world experience, their real-world driving skills coming across here into the sim world. And once again, Cooper Allen now goes wheel-to-wheel down the main straightaway and gets in front here. No, does he? Donaldson holds on. Somehow Donaldson holds on. That's fantastic driving. This is these young fellas absolutely having a good scrap here for position 9. So wouldn't this be fantastic if they're up there for the lead of the race as well? But Birch at the moment, he's absolutely running away. 2 seconds up the road. The gap between Bircher and Bates then, if we look back to Bates, then we hang and wait for D'Alia. It's almost a 10-second, it is 11.5 seconds back to D'Alia. There he is running in 3rd spot. So it's quite spread out once you get past the first 2. Then between the next 4 or 5 drivers, it's about 5 or 6 seconds. So not so far once you get down the field, but wow. The top 2 have absolutely bolted in this race. We're at the halfway point, and you can see the gap already. About 12 seconds over 3rd place. So good job. Cooper Allen still in this fight, though, once again with Donaldson. Look at this, wheel to wheel as they head down here once again. Look at this. Who's going to hang on here? Donaldson goes quite wide. I'm not sure if that'll get him a slowdown. We'll have to wait and see. We're right on board with him. You can see Cooper Allen just drop back a little bit there with Donaldson taking that extra wide line through the old first corner. And go down through Maggots and Beckett's now once again. Cooper Allen just dropping back a bit there. So possibly we'll wait and see if Donaldson has to slow down. Riding on board with him. Does he keep it flat to the floor, or is he lifting here a little bit? You can see Cooper Allen beside him. These guys, no, he hasn't lifted, so he didn't get a slowdown for that. So it's quite often you're not sure with iRacing. They can be very... Oh, he's had a spin. He's spun it. So Donaldson, he's gone around. Unfortunately, we get a look on the Twitch cam and see his reaction. And he'll be upset with that because he was doing so well as well. And he's just unfortunately done that all by himself. He'll have to try and work pretty hard. He only lost about a second somehow he only lost a second in that pirouette. So he's got straight back on the throttle and chasing down Cooper Allen once again. So fantastic effort there. There's the Bjerke, that's Ryan Bjerke there in 7th spot. He's up 7 from where he started. He's got Jono Miles just behind him. And Henry Thomas Kirch, you can just see in the background there, tracking down onto the back of him as well. So they're racing well, these guys in the mid-pack. I don't think anyone's going to catch Bircher and Bates at the moment. Those guys are in a class of their own this evening in the sim world. They're a good 12 seconds up the road from position 3, which is D'Alia. So on lap 7 of 12 here at Silverstone, we're seeing Thomas Kircher now start to put some pressure. Sorry, it's Jono Miles. He does put the pressure on. In fact, he gets past Bjerke, so that's for position 7. Bjerke's going to come straight back at him though, so Ryan racing from the US of A there in the number 42 car, just having a crack straight back, which is always the racer's way, isn't it? When you lose a position, you want to quickly try and grab it back as soon as you can. So far, there's been a lot of action in this race, and the guys at the front are working really well. Let's have a look at that Jake Donaldson crash, because I'll tell you what, somehow he hung on to it. Let's have a look. So it was down the end of the hanger straight. Watch here. He didn't lose a lot of time here, which is incredible that you can go through a spin like this, a full pirouette, and somehow only lose a second to the guy you're racing with. So he goes right around, gets straight back on the throttle, and Cooper Allen may have slowed down a little bit there with that incident as well, because you can see Cooper going quite slow there, unless Cooper thought there was a bit of a touch there. So we might just have a look at the replay from an overhead shot, the chopper cam. Just have a look if we can zoom in here. In fact, that's not going to give us a lot of a view there, but possibly Cooper thought he may have touched here. Let's have a quick look as they come in close together. I don't think there was anything. In fact, if we look out the back, that'll give us the best indication. No, he lost it all by himself, so Donaldson was already well around there when Cooper came through. So not sure why Cooper may have slowed down there in that little next part of the racetrack. But anyway, we'll try and dissect that later if we can have a chat to the drivers. Thanks Yokohama for the replays. Let's get back to the front and get back to live racing. It's 2.4 seconds between Bircher and Bates at the moment out in the front, and he's run away with it at the moment. This young fellow, Cody Bircher, we were speaking to him earlier today about his fitness and everything that he's doing, planning on getting back to real driving, and had a test run this week in a Formula 5000 car, thanks to Gary Rogers Motorsport. So that was an incredible experience for him, 290 k's an hour down the main straight there at Phillip Island. So I tell you what, that's an experience most of us would love to get, and he had it this week, so that's pretty cool indeed. And he's backing that up. His skill from the real world, once again backing it up in the sim world tonight, racing up there 2.3 seconds in the lead of the race. Jake Donaldson now, he's been in a lot of battles today. He's just gotten past Ryan Bjerke now for 8th position. So Cooper Allen's dropped back to 10th. I'm not sure if Cooper's carrying a bit of damage or if he's had another spin. Just trying to pick up now. Thomas Kircher had a crash, so let's see if we can work out what happened, if Cooper may have been involved in that. Let's go to a quick replay now. See if we can work out what that was. It was all by himself. Did he turn in here onto the other driver? No. Oh, there was a bit of a touch there, a bit of net code, which is something that can happen in the virtual world. It looked like there may have been it's almost like you get a wind blow which turns you around, but it's to do with internet, and it's too hard for me to explain right now, but it's called net coding, and I think that may have been what happened there to Thomas Kircher, which unfortunately had him spin around. But Jake Donaldson, somehow he's managed to get back up into 7th spot and keeps going forward, so he's pushing really hard here with 3 laps to go. He's having a good run indeed, and in fact, if he hadn't have spun around, it'd be interesting to see where he would be. Jake Foraker, who took that earlier pit stop for the damage, he's back in 16th place, so he'll be looking to have a better run in the second race tonight. Josh Glynn in his first race, running back there in 15th spot, all by himself at the moment. About 18 seconds it is up the road to Steve White, who's on your screen right now. And Steve as well. A lot of these drivers out there just running by themselves, really. You can see as we ride on board here with Steve White, not really anyone up ahead and not really anyone behind. It's about 18 seconds back to the next driver. So some quite big gaps out there on the racetrack. This one though, that's not a big gap. That's 2 drivers having a big scrap here down into turn 1. And that is Gurdon and Thomas Kircher. We're pushing really hard out there. Thomas Kircher just trying to get that position back. He's in 11th spot now, so he's dropped back a few. Although he is up 5 from where he started, but we did see him as high, I think, as 8th place. So he was moving forward really well, and then he dropped back. Unfortunately, he possibly used a bit too much of the tyres at the start too, so he might be just starting to feel that come into its effect. Down this big hanger straight once again. No, sorry, we're going down the Wellington straight here. Just hard on the brakes at about the 60 metre board. You saw him really late on the brakes there. It's a late turn in here. Get a late apex, get it through there nicely, and then you start to set it up for this double right-hander. It's a really tricky part of the racetrack. It looks simple on paper, but it is quite a tricky part to get through. Cooper Allen's in a huge battle once again with, guess who? Jake Donaldson. So these guys, Cooper Allen somehow got in front of Jake, and they've really been battling all throughout this race, these guys. This is for position 7. And, we just watched them come down through here. You can see how close Donaldson's tracking through here on the back of Cooper Allen. Really hard to do with the aero wash you get off these cars as well, because they do spit out quite a bit of air behind them, and it can upset the following car and make it not get the downforce that it needs over that front wing. And all those expensive aero tests that they do all go out the window once you start to follow closely behind another car. Tipping it through the corner once again. We're right on board with Jake Donaldson. You can see how close he is this time. Well, have a look. They've been racing cleanly and pretty well, these guys. You has a look, he dives to the outside, but that will give him the inside. I think he's practiced this move before and he's done it again, so that's some fantastic racing there by Donaldson. He knows that if he goes around the outside there and sticks it, he then has the inside, which gives him the lead through the next couple of corners and down the straightaway once again, as Cooper Allen now once again pushes up beside him. He'll take away the inside run into turn one, which is a big flowing right-hander. Push Donaldson a little bit off the track, but Donaldson somehow hangs on again, so what a great scrap these guys are having tonight. And this has been the highlight of the race for me, Donaldson and Allen for position 8 and 7 at the moment. On the brakes there, I think Donaldson's gone a little bit wide through there. He gets back on the throttle, but once again, they're going to go wheel to wheel, these guys, as we spin the camera around to no man's land and have a look. He's disappeared. There he is, Cooper Allen in front. That was some sort of magic he was doing there. Didn't see him for a second, but there he is, Cooper Allen running once again down to the inside, being quite defensive through here. But if Donaldson once again can hang it to the outside, that's why I love this racetrack. You hang it on the outside, then you become the runner on the inside. So fantastic racing, isn't it? This is good to watch tonight, and Cooper Allen at the moment just got the upper hand, because I tell you what, Bjerke's starting to come into this as well. This is going to be a three-way battle before we know it, because if we go to the chopper cam and have a look, we'll just zoom back a little bit there. You can see there are now 3 drivers in this battle, as Cooper, Allen, Donaldson and Bjerke are racing really hard as Donaldson goes around the outside once again. He takes a fair bit of the runoff area with him. Not sure how iRacing will consider that, if they'll think that's a little bit too much, but once again, that was a fantastic overtake around the outside. So good running between these drivers. Cooper Allen takes a fair bit of dirt on corner exit there as well, so that'll drop him back a little bit into the hands of this man, Ryan Bjerke. So let's see how he goes down the back here on the hanger straight. Let's see if he can get a run down towards Stowe once again. Oh, Cooper Allen, late change there. Caught Bjerke out a bit. The reflexes are super sharp though. Nice job indeed. As once again they tuck through here. Very hard corner to get right, this one. It almost wants to just spit you off into the grandstands there. Let's see if he has a big dive under brakes here. No, he doesn't. He just tucks back in behind. So good running between these drivers. We're on lap 11 of 12. We'll get the white flag next time around. There's your race leader, Cody Bircher, at the moment, doing everything right. He's 2.6 seconds up the road from Bates. And then both those guys about 20 seconds up the road from the rest of the field. So been a masterclass. Unfortunately, Steve White's had a crash. Let's go to a quick replay and have a look at that. See where he is. Did he make it to the barrier? I guess one of the advantages of this racetrack is you can have a crash here and not hit a barrier most of the time. Although we have seen a few big ones over the years, and it just a slow speed crash there. I'm not sure what that was, just a slow speed lockup. So not sure what the issue was there. It might have been something sim related or cockpit related with the tools that he has there at his disposal. So anyway, let's go back to live action, because this race is almost done. Race number 1 of 2. And we have a short break, then we go to race 2, so make sure you stick around for that. Hopefully you're enjoying all this action tonight. Jump on the chat if you are and get involved. These guys are having a masterful scrap, aren't they? Oh boy, there's a bit of nose to tail there as Donaldson, he sort of checked up a little bit. Then you had Cooper Allen sort of checking the back of him. And then unfortunately, I think it was Bjerke got quite a big hit in the tail of Cooper Allen. That's pushed him back about a second there, as down through on the inside once again goes Cooper Allen. So boy, what a scrap these guys have had. It's been fantastic to watch. Cody Birch is about to cross the line to start his final lap. The white flag drops, and one more lap to go for Bircher. He's done everything right, hasn't he, in this race, like I said before. But we'll keep with this battle for as much as we can, because on the final lap and a bit here, they've still got a lap to go once they cross the line. So these guys battling so hard here. We're seeing this on board once again. Coming up behind Donaldson. What's Cooper Allen going to do? He's going to go to the outside here, has a look. And he's going to go around the inside there, which we've seen him do. I wonder if he'll try Donaldson's trick now and stay on the outside for the next corner into as we go into Vale, and that will keep him on the inside. He does, so he stays, in fact, a fair way in front, so he gets the job done there quite nicely. So Cody Bircher about 4/10 of the way through his final lap now. We'll see him shortly come around as these guys once again wheel-to-wheel action. Donaldson goes back in front. Now, I'm not sure if Cooper's just happy to be the chasing car here for the final part of this race. But anyway, they're having a good scrap, aren't they? And it's been fantastic to watch. Ryder Quinn also having a good run here with Thomas Kircher. These guys have been battling pretty hard throughout the race as well. We're going to go over to this man, Cody Bircher. He's done everything right. He's just coming through Maggots and Beckett's for the final time in this first race of the evening. And he should come home quite easily to win this one this evening. But then we've got the reverse top 10. So at the moment, Thomas Kircher will be off the front row with Bjerke right beside him. So, and we're going to have to see Allen and Donaldson off the second row, which will be absolutely thrilling. So make sure you stick around for that once we do get to race 2. And in fact, they've had a crash. I'm not sure if they're off the road. They are. So we're just looking now. Donaldson was off the road. Unfortunately, he spun around there. I think Cooper Allen spun with him. So both drivers getting into each other there. They'll still remain in the top 10, which will be good for their reverse grid standings, but not what you want to do at the end of a race, is it? We're watching Cody Bircher now just come through the final couple of corners. He'll come around, take the checker flag with ease here. 1.7 seconds ahead of Bates in the end. Checker flag's going to drop for him. That's a fantastic race win for Cody Bircher. In the first of 2 races this evening, Zach Bates just crosses the line in P2. Then we've got to wait about 20 seconds now for our third place driver. There he is on your screen right now, coming home a fair way back to take the third place and the third step of the podium. We'll have a talk to these guys in a second. In fact, we got Cody in the green room now, so let's grab Cody and Zach straight in for a chat as we just watched Trent come across the line almost a lifetime behind you guys. How was it out there, Cody? You guys ran away with it.
Yeah, no, it was, obviously you're not going to complain getting out in front and I guess leading the whole way, so it was good fun. Obviously if there's a bit more battling within it, it's going to be a lot different, but I mean, the lap traffic wasn't too bad this week either, so yeah, it was pretty calm out in front.
Sure, mate. Now, what are the grip levels like out there? Because we talked to Whitey about the grip levels earlier on, and he said it was really slippery out there. So how did you find it in the race?
Yeah, it's really slippery, but it's sort of the car's a bit on a knife edge. So it'll some corners it'll understeer, other corners it'll just snap sideways. So I guess it's just balancing it on that knife edge, and then the car's not too bad. It's pretty well balanced if you can keep it on that knife edge, but. Yeah, I think this car's a different driving style, I guess, to most cars. It feels like it's got more grip than it actually does. So yeah, once you get used to it, it's a pretty good car to drive.
Yeah, for sure, mate. And Zach coming home in P2, you got to be happy with that, mate. You weren't too far off the back of Bircher, but I tell you what, it's gonna be an interesting one going to the reverse grid race too. You guys having to come from, I presume it's reverse top 10 again, so from 10th and 9th through the field.
Yeah, I think just stay out of trouble and we'll be right.
And what do you think it is? How are you going to catch Cody, or what could you not do in that race just to get onto the back of him? It remained about a 2-second gap throughout the whole race there. So, was there anything you can do next?
He's going to have to send me his hacks.
Some grip hacks. He's got that. That EXE folder.
He can take a corner flat, but I can't, so I don't know what's going on.
Oh, very good. So I'm looking forward to the next battle. So hopefully we'll chat to you guys again. First of all, Cody, do you want to thank any sponsors for this win in race 1?
Yeah, just thanks to Tony Lee Motor Group, Orange Tyre Power, Magic, SMS Mortgage Solutions, Penrite, Canoblis Auto 1, and West End Mazda, and Pitbox, and Apple City Auto Electrics.
Very good, mate. And Zach, same thing for second place there in the first race this evening. Do you want to thank your sponsors?
Yeah, Bates Advanced Driving and Brett Francis Racing.
Very good, mate. All right, we've got a warm-up session now. We're going to play a video over here, but hopefully we'll talk to you guys later on. Good luck for race number 2.
Cheers, thank you.
Thanks. That was Zach and Cody there, first and second in that race, and we didn't unfortunately get a chance to speak to Trent. He's not on the Discord, but we'll read through those final results for you in the race. In the first race, Bircher, Bates and Gribble, that was your top 3. Cordes coming home nicely there in 4th place with Liston, Miles, Bjerke, Thomas Kircher, Quinn and Donaldson rounding out your top 10. That'll put Donaldson on pole for the next one. Girton White, Woodland, D'Alia, Evans, Cooper Allen. I'm not sure what happened right at the end there, dropped right back to 16th place. And Glenn and Foraker rounding out your 18 drivers for this event today. All right, we're going to have a quick break here. We're actually going to go to another promo video which was done for Formula Ford. This is Tim Blanchard, so hopefully you guys enjoy this and check out his story with Formula Ford.
The best training ground possible for my career in supercars, and now after a few years racing supercars, it's become a really great way to enjoy motor racing with my family, with my dad and my brother in historic Formula Ford.
The Blanchard name is so well recognised in Formula Ford circles. Tim, tell us about your family connection to the category.
Yeah, we have a really long connection with the Formula Ford and category and the association. So started off with my father racing Formula Ford in the late 80s, early 90s, finished runner-up in the championship twice and won the Australian Formula Ford Festival a number of times at Winton. Through to my own racing in Formula Ford with Sonic through 2005 through to 2007 and on to the UK. So a long association with the category and one we're very proud of.
So when it was time for you to leave go-karts and go and do something else, I'm guessing there was absolutely no choice, there was no option but Formula Ford.
Yeah, obviously Formula 4 was the best, or still is the best category for the guys coming out of karts now, and yeah, so it was just a natural progression for me, and we had a long association, not only with Formula 4, but with Michael Ritter and the Sonic team, back from when Michael worked with my dad's Formula Ford, so yeah, it was a great opportunity to go and work with Sonic and experience Formula Ford, and yeah, really look back on those days fondly.
Tell us about the first time you actually drove a Formula 4. Do you remember where and when and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, the first time I drove a Formula 4 was at Winton. It was the end of 2004, and I had James Small, now well-known engineer. He'd raced the Formula 4 that year with Sonic, and he came up and helped me run it with Michael Ritter and the guys at Sonic. And I remember being very nervous and like tiptoeing around the track all day, but yeah, that was a great day, and I was really enjoyed it.
Was it an emotional thing to achieve, given the fact that, as you said before, your dad went so close to winning a title but didn't quite get there?
Yeah, definitely. It was something personally was a very big goal for my own career, was to win the Formula 4 championship. Dad finished so close to came so close to winning it twice, and to get that Blanchard name on the trophy was a really big important goal for me, and to achieve that in 2007 was pretty exciting.
So you've gone on and had a career in supercars. You're still racing supercars, but to keep yourself sharp in between those races, you still jump into Formula Ford every now and then.
Yeah, we never sold my dad's first Formula Ford, which is an 88 Van Diemen, and it kind of sat in storage at my grandfather's garage at home for 20-something years, and became eligible for historics about 5 years ago, and we cleaned it up and took it out. I thought I'd have a go in it, and it's kind of progressed into a bit more than that now, so I'm still racing it a bit, and got another car for my brother, and my dad's been racing a bit as well, so it's definitely a big family outing now, going to a historic Formula Ford racing.
Righty guys, we're back for the second part of the evening. We're just finishing a warm-up session now, and then we go into race number 2, reverse top 10, which will be exciting indeed. And, we're just seeing them run around now, get a bit more practice in. Donaldson, we're going to try and find out what happened with himself and Cooper Allen in that first race. And Cooper, I'm just going to have a look. I don't think he's got a chat up there. You just need to know why he dropped right back there at the end, whether or not he got some sort of penalty or just an issue he had with the car, but he definitely dropped right back from almost in the top 10 to I think 16th place at the end there. So hope you're doing well out there on a Sunday afternoon. G'day all the people down at Hately Motorsport and Horsham Off-Road. Nice to have you watching, and a big shout out to you guys. And, thanks for coming on board as a broadcast partner as well. G'day Grace and Brock, Tiffany for the stars. Big thanks to you, and also Shane up there getting involved in the chat. So get on to Lucas Esports, get involved for this last race if you want to make the chat happen for me. It's a little bit quiet out there tonight. You guys are a little bit half asleep, is it? What's going on out there on a Sunday afternoon? We got some good racing out there. Zach Bass at the moment just putting on a little bit of a smoke show down the pit lane. And, does a couple of donuts and then heads on his merry way. So I'm sure our race director will be too impressed with that smoke that's just been left down there. But that's all good. There's a couple of cars come through. We do have some cool track cams down there as well. And, There's fantastic roaming camera there as 4acre goes to the top in this practice session and parks at not really a competitive time. Just putting something down. We can see more smoke out there as the drivers, I think, are just having a little bit of fun. Right, we'll go in about 2 minutes. We'll go live to the track for race number 2, so stand by for that. Right, a Quinn on your screen right now. Just pulling to the side of the track. There is Stephen White. So, got to say, I love this livery. I tried to Google search a shot of his 90s Formula Renault car, but I could not find it on the internet. So, maybe he can run this livery again in 2 weeks' time for our finale here for this series, and we can try and get a real-world photo as well. Grubel P3 is in the green room. Let's have a look. No, he's not there at the moment, so he's having some troubles. It's a pity we couldn't have a chat to him. He did a great job coming home in 3rd place there in that first race, but unfortunately he's got some issues with his mic at the moment, so we won't be able to have a chat with him. Race Control had to go and do a stint in the 24 hours, so there you go. I think that's why we got a fair few drivers missing tonight. I do know probably 5 or 6 I could rattle off the top of my head that I saw were racing in the Le Mans 24-hour race on iRacing today. And that's a huge effort, isn't it? Being to sit in your sim for 24 hours. I know a lot of them, they take sort of, I think they do double stints, so that would be around a couple of hours each go. But I tell you what, it's still a lot of racing and it's a long time to be awake, and I'm sure the odd guy probably has a little bit of a snooze here and there as well. So, but anyway, it's all good fun sim racing, and there's no repair bill at the end of the day unless you blow up your GPU, which let's hope doesn't happen to anyone out there, so I'm not sure what Bates is doing there. There's a little bit of craziness creeping into the final part of this practice session as Cooper Allen comes through, absolutely collects Donaldson and Bircher, all involved in a huge incident there. So 4acre it was, in fact. So I think the guy's just blowing off a bit of steam with about 30 seconds to go in this practice session. Have we got a pit lane donut session happening? I think there's something going down in the pits there. We've got Benjamin Dialia just showing how it's done, putting on a bit of a smoke show for the fans. Try and get our chopper cam down there to have a quick look. There you go. So nice effort, Ben. How does a Formula Ford go at doing that? I'm not sure. Does it have enough horsepower? I'd say it'd have a go. He's doing a nice job rounding out the time there. We hit the 10-minute mark. That means we're going to race 2. So let's get set for that, folks. This should be fun. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully you guys are too. Let's get set. There, the server finally resets. It says, I've had enough of that. No more donuts from you, Ben. Let's get down onto the grid. So here we go, folks. The grid coming up on your screen now. Race Control, obviously they won't be there, and unfortunately they're going to take away the first position. So it will be 4acre and Glynn off the front row with Cooper, Allen and Evans, Dialia, Woodland, White, Gurdon, Donaldson and Quinn. So it looks like a full reverse grid by the looks of things. Yeah, it is a full reverse grid, not a top 10 reverse. So then you got Thomas Kircher out of 12th position. We go down to Bjerke, Miles, Liston, Cordes, Grubel and Bates and Bircher off the back of the grid. So there you go. They're going to have to come right through from the back this time. That won't be easy, but let's see. Let's get down there now. Jake 4acre is going to take us away from the front row, and he will be in pole position with the Race Control, obviously not counting, taking up that first pit box. Let's get set for a start very soon, folks. We're just waiting now on the green light, which should happen any second. And then we'll get underway for race number 1. No, race 2, sorry. Let me get that right. Here we go. Revs rise. Should be any second now. They'll drop the clutch and get underway. They do. Lights are out. Away we go here at Silverstone for race number 2 for the Formula Ford Australian eChallenge. And this is round number 4 of 5 through the first corner nicely. See out the back there of 4acre's car. Someone was off the track in the background. I think that's Woodland. It is going to the scenic route. Everyone else getting through there nicely. You can see Steve White battling. Oh, we've got a crash up ahead. That's a huge crash. A few cars involved in that, including Dialia. I think Glynn's crashed as well. Bjerke's crashed as well. So a lot of cars involved in that incident. They got it running again, but that's going to put them right back. You can see Dialia right back in 16th place. I think Bjerke going around there, having to get that resorted and getting it pointing in the right direction once again. and gets underway, but huge incident down there. We've got Bates already up 10 spots to 8th at the start of this race. Where's Birch? He's back in 12th spot. So Bates, the biggest winner off the back of the grid there, straight up 10 spots. Liston also up 10 spots as well, up into 5th. So that's a great effort there off the first couple of corners at this racetrack to make it up there. Cooper Allen, he's jumped away at the moment with a lead of about a 1/10 of a second. In fact, you can see how close it is on the screen between himself and Foraker as they go down through this part of the racetrack, through the old start finish straight up towards Maggots and Beckett's. Once again, you can see the gap opening up a little bit now as Kyle Evans puts a fair bit of pressure onto the back of Jake Foraker. Riding on board now with Kyle Evans. Let's get the names up on the screen so you can see the top 18, and in fact there's only 18 drivers today, so there's 18 cars out there on the racetrack still running. In fact, Glynn has now reset to the pit lane, unfortunately, as side by side Evans goes with Foraker. Should be able to get the move done down here into Stowe Corner, so nice pass there. Let's hope he can get it done under brakes. 34 car moves ahead of the 48 car of Foraker, and a good passing move indeed. Through the pack, we've got John O'Miles in a huge scrap here with Stephen White, who's just hanging on at the moment for position 8, so he'll be pretty happy with that. Stayed in position from the start. Zach Bates just in front of him. Just up the road there is Zach now chasing down Samuel Woodlands, as Thomas Kircher has also just made a pass on Jake Foraker for 3rd position. So he's moving through nicely as well, up 9 spots from where he started. So let's run through the order there. It's Cooper Allen, then you got Kai Evans coming through in 2nd, Foraker and Thomas Kircher in 3rd and 4th. Then you got Liston back in 5th place, up 10 from where he started. Zach Bates up 12 spots in 6th. So having a great run as well. And then, who's that off the racetrack? Someone just had a huge incident. That was Kyle Evans. So way off the racetrack there. Rejoins all the way back in 10th spot. So that's not a good one. We might go back and have a quick look at that start incident with Dialia, I think was the one that got it all kicked off and happening down into turn 1. Let's have a look. He went off the racetrack just... So it was down into Village, I think. Hit it in the back. So that was his own fault. That one under brakes there. He just misjudged it and clobbered the back of one of the cars. And they all tried to get going again. Unfortunately, they spun around a few times there. We also had Cody Bircher had an incident there too. Let's have a look at that. That might explain why he dropped back a little bit. But in fact, he's back up into 6th place. So let's see if he got involved in any of that scrap. There's a bit of he did spin it right around, so incredible. Spun it right around there, fell right back to about 12th, so he was tracking along with Bates, and that's why he did drop back a fair way. So interesting off the start of the race there, what happened between those drivers as they try and come through from the back. Back to live now, we can see that it is Zach Bates there back in 5th and Bircher in 6th. These guys running from the back of the grid here, trying to get towards the front. Let's see how they go in this one. Cooper Allen still leading the race at the moment by about 4.5 seconds. So that's a great little jump away there over Henry Thomas Kircher back in 2nd. And Liston running a great 3rd position here. He'll be stoked with that. Looking back though, there is Zach Bates not too far behind. Jake Foraker now just ahead of Cody Bircher. And into the pits goes Jake Foraker, so that's unfortunate. I think he's had damage once again. We're right on board to have a look. Yeah, that front wing is absolutely clobbered. So unfortunately for Foraker, it strikes again. He's going to have to fall right out of this one. Liston having a fantastic run here, up in 3rd place for Listic Race Cars. And he'll be stoked with that. Look at the understeer it picks up through turn 1. Heading around behind Henry Thomas Kircher. He's going to have his hands full soon though, because Zach Bates is really starting to close that gap down, and we know how quick Zach's been today. Then you got Cody Bircher just behind him. We know how quick Cody's been as well. So it's been incredible between these drivers, and they've already made up 14 spots each off the start of this race. So let's have a quick look at those gains now on the screen. You can see there 14 spots apiece for Bates and Bircher. Liston up 12. Thomas Kircher up 10 as well, so 15 for Bates now as he just does put the move on Liston, so it drops him back 1 position. Bircher will be the next one to try and have a crack at Will Liston, who's just up the road by 1.1 seconds at the moment. So we're right on board here with Cody. Let's watch him start to track down onto the back of Liston. As John O'Miles is about 3.5 seconds back, and Steve Cordes there. Trent Grubel as well running in 8th. He did well to come home in 3rd in that first race. Steve White in 9th, still in the top 10, having a nice run as well. But looking through the field, there's not too many really close battles at the moment. This one probably will be the next battle we'll see, and that will be Thomas Kircher as Zach Bates starts to track him down got a better run through there, did Bates. So watch this. He should get a great run now down the hanger straight and possibly put a move on down into Stowe at the end of this straightaway. So look at this. He's right up behind him now. Let's see which way he goes. Goes to the inside. They hold position. Good job. And just ducks inside there up into second place for Zach Bates. So he'll be happy with that. And he'll also be happy that he's put a couple of cars now between himself and Cody Bircher. You just see on your screen there as we look back, it's Thomas Kircher and Liston, and then you got Cody Bircher just sitting there in, what is he now, 5th place. So he's just dropped back a little bit. In fact, he spun around there. We saw him just catch the curb on entry to the corner, and that spun him around. That means John Miles has just jumped up in front as well. So Bircher not going too well in this one. He's up 13 spots, but just not the consistency we saw in the first race, which saw him easily come home with the win there. Let's have a quick look at the replay there. I'm pretty sure I caught him just catch the curb on corner entry. So watch this. We're right on board with him. Have a look. So he tips it in here, and you'll see him just catch the sausage curb there. That was enough to send that car around. Look at all that. All the opposite lock in the world does not do anything to stop that car rotating. And unfortunately, that spun him around. He got it going pretty quickly, though. See Jonathan Miles just come through there on the inside, but he punched it out there and got going very quickly ahead of Steve Cortis once again. Interesting stuff. Let's go back to live. Thanks to Yokohama for the replay this evening. And there you go. He's just made that position back as we go back to live. So Cody Birchie's going to have his work cut out for him now to try and catch up to Zach Bates, who's about 7 seconds up the road. So in all that little bit of toing and froing, Zach Bates has managed to get right up into second place, and he's starting to close that gap now between himself and Cooper Allen. There is Cooper Allen, and we look back to Zach Bates. So Cooper Allen in the blue car. We'll just freeze the camera there, or in fact we'll do that. There is Zach Bates, so not far at all. We'll keep an eye on that as it starts to come down. In fact, we'll put up the lap time delta for you, so you'll be able to see up on the screen now who's going quick and if he's catching. So at the moment, there's your time delta, folks, and we'll get it up there between second and first in a second. Here we go. Play around with it. So there's the gap now. So you can just see it coming down. It was 7.1 seconds. On the last lap, it's down to 5.2. I can tell you now it's down to 4.5. So that will keep decreasing as they get through these laps between Cooper Allen and Zach Bates, who's on your screen right now. So we'll keep following this. I think you can see this. You can see the times yourself. 4.4 seconds. And then it's a couple of seconds back to Thomas Kircher. Liston still back there in 4th. Bircher in 5th place. And you've got Miles, Cortis, Grubel, White still hanging on in the top 10 with Woodland. So they're all pretty spread out throughout the pack now. But the next battle, probably this one here, Liston, he's up onto the back of Henry Thomas Kircher. So he's pushing here. We know he's up 11 spots already. Gonna probably try and go up an extra spot here or two. Let's see if he can. There's oh boy, that was Kircher going really wide there off the racetrack. So in fact, did he spin it around? No, he didn't. He just lost a heap of time there. So he's dropped back into the clutches now of Cody Bircher. So Thomas Kircher there having a little bit of a mistake, and that's going to really start to cost him, as Bircher, I think, will try and get it all sorted now and come home strong as he does a big lunge down the inside there into what is towards the old Brooklands corner. This little part of the circuit is fantastic, isn't it? You can just see that was a great move. Late on the brakes, dived down the inside, moved up another position. So he's 11 seconds off the lead, and that's the all-important thing, because at the moment he's going to have to try and catch up and pass Bates first, who just runs off the track a little bit. We'll go over and have a look. I think that was the exit of Corpse Corner. He just went off the track a little bit there, which a fair few of the drivers do. So we're heading down lap 5 now. We're almost at the halfway point of this final race, and then we've only got one more round to go after this. Next week will be the final round of the Australian Formula Ford eChallenge. Big thanks once again to the Formula Ford Association for their support putting this series on. And I think next week we do go to Bathurst for the finale, so that will be incredible to see all these drivers run around there. And sorry, in 2 weeks' time, so that will be great. Looking forward to that. Let's see if these drivers can put on a good performance there as well, with all the disadvantages of having walls so close to you, unlike Silverstone, where you have an absolute mega amount of runoff area, don't you? Now, Ben Dialia here is in a battle. Good scrap here with Ryder Quinn. Let's have a look at this. This is down for 11th and 12th position. Dialia just gets the job done there. We're right on board with him, and in fact, he's got through. So puts himself ahead of Quinn, who's running back in 12th spot now. So good job. Jono Miles also having a scrap here with Steve Cortis. So Cortis now really starting to gain position here and try and get a move done to move himself up into the top 5. So let's see if he does it under brakes here. You can just see ahead, Miles pretty defensive and not a real easy passing zone there. Quite often cars will make a mistake out of here, out of the loop, which means you get a better run. If you can get a run through Aintree here onto the Wellington Straight, you can possibly put a pass down, which we saw Bircher do on the previous lap into Brooklands under brakes. We've also got a car that is Glynn out of position there down a lap, just off up to the left. So we drive into the shadows here. He's a bit cautious in there under brakes, is Cortis, with that lap car in the way, but gets through there nicely and no contact was made. So meanwhile at the front, Liston's still getting hounded here by Bircher, so you can just see this is for race position here. We'll be really stoked to be hanging on to this at the moment. Currently in third. I don't know for how much longer though, as Bircher now sweeps through on the inside into turn 1 and heads on up the track. So in fact that was into Cobb's corner, so now he'll run up here towards Maggots and Beckett's, and you'll see him catch right up again. Liston having a great run today, isn't he? Big flash from the exhaust there of Bircher's car under brakes as a bit of unburnt fuel spits out there and ignites. Now we get a run down this back straight, the hanger straight. Let's see if you can get up close to him and possibly put a pass on. That would be fantastic. See Will fighting here with the man who won the last race, Cody Bircher. He's going to have a look. He's having a dive and he does it. He's going to stick it down the inside here. This is fantastic to watch. Oh, and he's lost it. So, that was huge. He went for the big pass there. Unfortunately, the tail end of that car said, no, I'm not doing that. And unfortunately, he went around. That was a good effort, though. Let's have a quick look at that on the replay, because give him 10 out of 10 for having a shot there. He stuck it towards the inside. Let's ride on board. You'll just see down the inside there, and then watch the steering wheel. Bit of opposite lock and a little bit too much. It snapped back on him and around he went. So he got it running quickly again. But like I say, great effort there. Drops him back to 7th spot. That releases Bircher up behind Bates now, though. So this will be interesting. Not sure he'll be able to close that gap of 8 seconds down, although Bates now has got the gap down at the front to 2 seconds. So that was 4.6 before. Constantly coming down is that gap between Cooper Allen and Zach Bates. So there's your race leader now. We'll have a look out the back. You'll probably start to see, just in the background, Zach Bates coming into the picture. And as a psychological thing, I know drivers, once they do see the car in front of them, it helps them catch up, because for some unknown reason, if you're chasing an object, you can start to close in on it. And at the moment, Zach Bates, there he is, folks. Not far at all. 1.8 seconds now. The gap has come down, so we're on for a real good battle here. Cortis is having a battle here. In fact, he's gone around. So Steve Cortis involved in an incident there. I'm not sure if the lap car was involved in that too. Let's have a quick look at a replay here, thanks to Yokohama. Cortis, did he do this by himself? Keep an eye on this. It was down through Luffield. Got on the throttle, and yeah, we've seen this all day, haven't we? The cars just don't hang on. Once they go around, it's very hard to bring them back, and he has to rotate that car, get it back out onto the racetrack. He's running behind Steve White now, who's up into 7th spot. Good job, Steve. There he is on your race cam right now. Through Maggots and Beckett's, back onto the hanger straight once again, and I tell you what, he's got, I reckon, the best dressed award out there tonight for that livery. It looks fantastic out on there on the screen, so good job, Steve. Comes down the hanger straight once again towards Stowe Corner and chip it in here nicely. You'll see it under brakes here. Like he said earlier in the broadcast, really tricky corner this one. Tries to get away from you through there, but he hangs on nicely. 4 laps to go in this race. At the front, Cooper Allen, you can see the gap now down to a second, so we're almost getting into the slipstreaming area now for Zach Bates. He'll be licking his lips about that as he looks forward now. We're right on board with Bates. We haven't gone to visor cam, so we might check that out quickly for a second now, because we haven't used that yet in this session. There we go. So we're right on board with Zach Bates and get his perspective as we head down through Aintree onto the Wellington Straight now. You can see he's a fair way behind, just tucking down in the cockpit there. Down towards Brooklands. Once again, this is a great little corner, this one. You've got to tip it in. Keeps tightening up. You can see him just working the rear end there. The car's trying to step around. You can see it unload a little bit, and he had to straighten the steering wheel. You get this big double right-hander onto the old start finish straight through Woodcote. This fast right-hander as we tuck it in down through here, past the old pit straight, and now the Porsche Super Cup pit zone, and then we go down under the Silverstone sign towards the old turn 1, which is a very quick right-hander through Cops Corner. Then we go down towards Maggots and Beckett's. The gap is 1 second exactly. Continually closing down is this gap. tips it in now to Maggots, and you can see the right-hander through here. Take a fair bit of curb, you skim across there, through the left-hander, then through the right-hander, and you've got to really chase it across the curb there. Don't go wide there, though, because if you hit that grass, it's all over Red Rover. He's got it down to 8/10 now as he hooks up under the rear wing and starts to get a bit of that toe from Cooper Allen in front. And you see him starting to close up now. This visor cam really puts you in the perspective of the driver. Through Stowe Corner once again. Hard on the brakes, then you've got to basically release the brake and hang on for your life as you go through there. Gap down to 6/10 now. Cooper Allen almost in sight as we head down into this final part of the racetrack with about, what do we got? Oh, Cooper Allen goes around, so huge one there. Cooper Allen has gone around in the background, unfortunately. I think he's done it all by himself. Did he catch the curb too, a bit like we saw Cody Bircher do earlier in the race? I think he may have. Let's go to a quick replay and have a look at that. Cooper Allen, who's been leading this race for most of it, unfortunately, all that good work undone, and I guess that was the pressure of seeing Zach start to chase him down there. Watch this under brakes. Did he snap a brake? Did he hit the curb? He got that curb. So the sausage curb, which I've got to say, in his defence, is something I always gripe about with iRacing. I feel like when you hit a curb like that, it just it goes to what is, to me, the point of no return. You just can't recover from the slide, and I think it's something to do with the time model they've got to sort out, and something definitely iRacing needs to look at. Yes, you should be punished for hitting a curb, but the way the cars go around, it's just it's incredible. It's impossible to catch them back for some reason. So anyway, that's cost Cooper Allen the lead of the race. He'll have, what's he got? About a 2-second gap now between himself and Cody Bircher. So Cody will try and chase onto the back of him now. You can see him up ahead, so that will be enticing him to go a little bit quicker here and try and catch him down, and that'll mean he'll be on the second step of the podium after that win in race 1. It'll just be a role reversal for the top 2, with Bates currently looking like he's going to win this second race for the evening in our third last race for the championship. So it's been a lot of fun. I'm enjoying it. I know next in 2 weeks' time when we do the final one, that will be a grand finale, and we'll have a lot of special guests, and it should be a lot of fun. But Bates there he is out in front, 5.7 seconds to lead. There's no real battles going on at the moment as we look through the pack. There's Cooper Allen. And it's about a 2-second gap between every single car, at least at the moment, or more. So closest one we've probably got going would be, so I look through the timing fields, it'll be John O'Miles here and Liston and Grubel in front of him. So about a second either side of this man is a couple of competitors, but unfortunately nothing wheel to wheel at the moment between these drivers. In fact, Cody Bircher there just got right up onto the back of, in fact, was that Cooper Allen going around again? I think it was. Cooper's had another little incident there, so the gap at the front, 7.8 seconds now, so it's grown a bit more. I think, did Bircher have an incident there too? So I'm just going to try and look on the, let's see what happened here on the replay. So this was Bircher just coming up onto, so Cooper's dropped it there going through Stoke Corner, so that's put Bircher up into second spot. Just try and keep with all this here. It's a lot happening in the back play of this race, and it's quite often hard to see with 18 drivers out there where they're all at and where they're all going from. We're going to try and just check back and see with we'll see where Donaldson is, because he's all the way back in 14th. Unfortunately, that earlier incident sees him right at the back of this one. In fact, he just got lapped again by Steve White, who's running up there in 7th spot. So not the best second race there for Donaldson, but he'll bounce back. Foraker also, he's in the pit lane. So there is Jake Foraker. It looks like he's parked it up for the day, unfortunately. And, sad to not see him up there battling at the front. Steve White riding on board with him now. He's got Cordis not far behind, 2.6 seconds behind. Donaldson just behind him. These guys aren't racing for position, unfortunately. They're just racing for pride, I guess you'd say, as Donaldson tries to unlap himself now from Steve White. But we'll see how we go with that. At the front, Zach Bates, the gap is 8 seconds still over Cody Bircher. I don't think anyone's going to catch him now. There is Cody. You see in the background, you can also see Cooper Allen not far behind, but we've seen him been in the walls. The last couple of laps, he's dropped it twice now in the last 2 laps, so possibly used too much of the tyre early on, and it's really starting to hurt him. You can see him pushing wide once again out of Beckett's there and down onto the hanger straight. He's not feeling it at the moment. He's dropped a lot of time, about 11 or 12 seconds in the last couple of laps, so not ideal. At the front though, let's give Zach Bates some air time, because at the moment he's doing everything right that he needs to do to come home and take this win. Steve White, there he is on your screen. We've had someone in the chat. Frank, g'day. Nice to have you getting in touch on the Lucas Esports chat there and talking about Steve White. So let's give him some airtime, because I do, like I say, engage people in the chat if they want to talk about their favourite drivers out there or someone that they know. I do try and give that driver as much airtime as I can. And like I said earlier, isn't that a great livery? And I'm going to try for next week, remind me if I forget, to get a couple of real-world pictures from when he ran this livery back in the 90s, Formula Renault overseas. He also raced Formula Ford overseas. He basically did everything. Steve White, he raced for the Holden Young Lions and supercars, all that sort of stuff. He's been an absolute legend in the sport, and it's great to see that he joins in the sim racing. He also joins in a V8 supercar series that I do on R Factor 2, and that's great as well, the Down Under series. So he's a great bloke, always good to have a chat with as well, and it's good to see him out there running in the top 10, 7th spot at the moment, 25 seconds off the lead, and about 3 seconds ahead of Steve Cortis, who I don't think will catch him with only a couple of laps to go. There's your race leader at the moment, thanks to SRT for our chopper cams today. It's Zach Bates running nicely, 7.6 seconds up the road from Cody Bircher, who's just starting to track him down a little bit, but I think it's too big of a gap to get in the last couple of laps. But at the moment, he is definitely closing it down bit by bit. Will Liston's got his hands full here. In fact, it's Jono Miles has got his hands full, because if you look back from the exhaust cam, you can see Will Liston trying to chase him down. Liston was running right up there in the top 3 for the majority of this race, so he'll be stoked, I think, with his efforts tonight. He'll come home with the top 10 finish. And I just got a marker come up. I think Cooper Allen may have had another little... Oh, off the track goes Jono Miles, and I think Liston does get the job done. So that's as easy as it can be when the other competitor runs off the racetrack. So nice job. Liston goes up into 5th place. He's up 10 from where he started. That's fantastic, isn't it? We'll get the white flag this time around. You can just see our race leader now crossing the line. Zach Bates crosses now, goes into the lead, and he's been in the lead the whole time, but 1 lap to go. He's gonna come home quite comfortably. I think he could pretty much back off now, lose 5 seconds in this lap, and still win by a couple of seconds. So nice job indeed. Benjamin Dialia is in a battle here with Samuel Woodland. This is back for 10th place, so just trying to get the top 10 honours here between these two drivers. Right on board here with Dialia, you can just see him tracking down, trying to stay in the slipstream of Woodland, who's swerving all over the place, trying to break the toe, but he's got it done. He's right up onto the back of him. He's going to try and go around the outside of Stowe. That's a place you don't really want to go around the outside, because it does seem to drop away from you a bit, but somehow he hangs on. He did go all 4 wheels off the track there. He'll try and sweep across. He'll be happy with the outside line through here, because it does become the inside, and that's job done. Benjamin Dialia, a nice pass indeed. Gets himself up into the top 10, so that's where you want to be. Zach Bates on his final lap. Like I said before, he's about halfway through it at the moment. There he is, just coming through the old start-finish now, and down through Culp's Corner for the last time. And he'll head down towards Maggots and Beckett's, and then pretty much all the hard stuff is done then. With about half a lap to go, he can just relax a little bit. He's got a gap of 7 seconds, nothing to worry about. Should be able to bring this home in style. This Cody Bircher running in 2nd place there. Cooper Allen's going to hang on for a 3rd here, but he's a fair way back. He's really been in the wars for the second half of this race after leading it early and being very quick indeed. Unfortunately, he's going to drop back and take a 3rd here this afternoon for race 2. There's Trent Gribble, not far behind him actually, 2.7 seconds. Then you got Liston not far behind him. So this top 5 has been battling out, changing places with a few incidents and crashes here and there. But the man on your screen right now is going to come home and take the win in style. Zach Bates, the number 8 car. Here he is. Couple of corners to go, and he'll be stoked with this win. We'll get to chat to him shortly in the live chat. And here he is, crosses the line now, takes a checker flag for race 2 for this evening for the Australian Formula Ford eChallenge, and good job, gets it really sideways and crashes it over the line. There is Cody Bircher coming home to take 2nd place in the Tony Lay car, and good job indeed. Then we're going to wait for Cooper Allen to cross the line. Here he comes to take home 3rd, and a well-deserved 3rd after leading this race. He'll be unhappy with himself, I think, that he didn't finish a little bit higher, but still a podium is a podium, and that's a fantastic effort tonight for race number 2. Make sure you follow the Formula Ford Australia page and check out the race results. They do post them up on the next couple of days, and a couple of photos and all that sort of stuff as well. And a bit of damage there. I think these guys have been having a little bit of a biff down there, but they're going to stop for as Cody gives a little bit of a hit there. In fact, he may be out of fuel, is he? No, I'm not sure what's going on. I think they're just having a bit of fun. But there you go. It's a bit of a smoke session down there as Zach Bates drives away. We'll get him in for a quick chat. Zach, you're live on the broadcast. Good job coming home with a win there, man. You've got to be stoked with that.
Yeah, it was good. Cody had a few mishaps, so I kind of took advantage of that, and I luckily got past the traffic decently, so yeah, it was good.
What the hell's going on out there? It looks like a fender bender race at Parramatta Speedway.
We're having a derby, yeah.
It's you guys playing a game, I think they call it Turtle, don't they, in iRacing, where it's the last car on its wheels wins.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Cody, you're in here as well. Good job coming home in P2. You had a few little incidents there. Cooper also, we'll try and get him in for a chat because he was leading the race for most of it and dropped it. But, man, you got to be happy with a second there and obviously a first as well. You guys getting a first and a second each today.
Yeah, I'm happy. I mean, obviously I got spun at the start and then I hit the curb, one of the sausage curbs, which is never good, especially in these cars, on my own. So obviously, I would have liked to think it'd be a lot closer if I didn't do that, but it is what it is. Can't change it now. So no, it's been a good fun night. Looking forward to the last round at Bathurst. Yeah,
for sure, man. And these cars, I'm not sure if it's an iRacing thing or what, but once you do hit a sausage curb, they just don't come back, do they?
No, you just clip it and it's like there's no saving it whatsoever. It just up on the two wheels and gone. So, but I mean, it is an open wheel car, so you can't. I mean, you wouldn't expect it to cop them either.
That's it, man. Now, good job tonight. So, Zach, once again, a chance to thank your sponsors in P1 there. Give us a quick shout out.
Yeah, just Brett Francis Racing and Bates Events Driving, and yeah.
Good job, mate. We've got a slow-mo of your car at the moment up on the screen. It looks like Christine. I don't know if you've seen that Stephen King movie, but it's absolutely destroyed.
Yeah, it's not Flash.
And Cody, a chance for you also to thank your sponsors quickly.
Tony Lay Motor Group, Tyre Power Orange, Pitbox, Apple City, Auto Electrics, SMS Mortgage Solutions, and Canopolis Auto One.
Very good. All right, thanks, guys. And we look forward to Bathurst in 2 weeks' time. That'll be fantastic, and it'll be a good final round for what's been a fun little e-challenge here for you guys.
No worries. Thanks, mate.
All right, cool. Thank you, guys. Cheers. So that was Cody and Zach having a quick chat there after their victory. Now let's get the results for you up on the screen. As boy, that car looks worse where it doesn't. That's Cody Birch's car there. I think Zach's is still crabbing down the racetrack. So it was Zach Bates taking race number 2 there from Cody Bircher. Cooper Allen coming home in 3rd in the end. Grubel 4th. Liston, Miles, Steve White finishing in 7th, Cordis in 8th, Thomas Kircher down in 9th, Dialia in 10th place. Then you had Samuel Woodland, Quinn, Bjerke, Donaldson, Glynn, Evans, Foraker and Girton rounding out your 18 drivers in the race today. Give us a like and a follow because make sure you stay in touch. In 2 weeks' time, we hit Bathurst up. That'll be a massive finale for these guys and we plan on having a huge party. So make sure you do write that down in your calendar, 4 o'clock. In the afternoon in 2 weeks' time, Eastern Standard Time, and we'll get out there for what will be a huge final event. So big thanks to everyone involved in this and a big thanks to my broadcast partners. And we'll see you all again very, very soon. My name's Luke. This is Lucas Esports. Good night for now.